Chapter 1470. Tang Jianfang even gave Night Sorrow the interrealm teleportation array crystal of the black-yellow Great World. I can't leave. Uncle Shengguan, please help me set up the teleportation array, Night Sorrow said. After the exchange, Night Sorrow left the command tent and found Shengguan Hong. He asked Shengguan Hong to dismantle the interrealm teleportation array of the Heaven Tiger Pass and set it up with the teleportation crystal. Night Sorrow wanted to set up the main teleportation array at the Nine Region City, which used to be the Clear Sky City. Night Sorrow also told Shengguan Hong to send the interrealm teleportation crystal of the main teleportation array to him first. He wanted the secret technique to recognize him as its master. This way, he would be able to control everyone who entered and left the Nine Regions world. Although he could kill a Heaven Lord now, Night Sorrow didn't want to take any risks. The Nine Regions world was his home. He couldn't be careless or make any mistakes. Shengguan Hong followed Night Sorrow's instructions. He first sent the crystal of the main teleportation array to Night Sorrow. After Night Sorrow recognized him as its master, Shengguan Hong started to set up the teleportation array. Heaven Lord God who also gave the teleportation crystal of the Divine Martial City to Night Sorrow. It was more troublesome to set up a large-scale teleportation array. Besides, it had to connect several great worlds. It also had to be set up between the cities in the sky. It took Shengguan Hong a month to finish setting up the teleportation array. Knowing that the teleportation array was fine, Night Sorrow communicated with the Nine Regions world's origin. The Nine Regions world continued to move. After everything was settled, Night Sorrow started to cultivate again. The Nine Regions world was currently using the best teleportation crystal. As long as they were in the chaos domain, they could teleport. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't have to worry. Besides, once the teleportation crystal recognized him as its master, Night Sorrow would be able to sense it. He could control the opening and closing of the teleportation array. With peace of mind, Night Sorrow cultivated peacefully. Sometimes, he would go to the God-slaying team's base to take a look. He would also spend time with his son and daughter. When he was relaxed, Night Sorrow's cultivation base advanced rapidly. Whether it was his realm or the cultivation of his fighting spirit, they were both improving rapidly. Night Sorrow was also in trouble. He had to use his leakless true body at all times. Otherwise, his battle intent, which carried an austere aura, would injure others. It would be unbearable. After spending 1.5 years in the real world, which was also 10 years in the Haotian godly pagoda, Night Sorrow's will of nothingness had reached 99%, reaching the highest level. One more step and he would no longer be an overlord, but a lord of heaven. Night Sorrow also stopped his seclusion because it was very difficult to make the final step. He had to first stabilize his current realm. In addition, just 1 point away from perfection, one also needed an opportunity and accumulation. When the opportunity arrived, it would be perfect. If the opportunity did not arrive, then one would forever be a sovereign and have no fate with a heaven monarch. After Night Sorrow's original body came out of seclusion, he went to take a look outside the devil blood energy. After 2 years, the devil blood energy was still very weak and had not risen. This situation made Night Sorrow realize that the other party would not make a move for the time being. The strength of the devil blood energy directly determined the pace of the devil blood domain. Without the support of the devil blood energy, Xia Bing and the others could only wait. Night Sorrow went to the command tent in the reincarnation Great World and greeted the Qing Emperor and Misty Rain. It's very oppressive. Although your aura doesn't leak out, I can still feel it. In fact, I'm even being suppressed. In the past few years, your cultivation has increased rapidly. If you take one more step, you will become a heavenly monarch. At that time, even if the demon commander is a half-step monarch, he will only be killed by you, Emperor Qing said. Master, I have let you down. Now, I have no feeling of comprehending the will. In other words, I do not know where to start with the remaining 1 point. Knight Sorrow shook his head and said. Kiki. That's right. Every peak stage monarch will have this period of confusion. During this period, it is impossible to break through. What about your senior brother? He was trapped for 5 million years. The fastest record for breaking through this period was at least 1,000 years. The Qing Emperor said. No. 1,000 years is too long. It is the time of turmoil now. It is not stable. When he heard that it would take 1,000 years, Knight Sorrow was a little anxious. The current situation should not be a problem, right? That evil demon commander is also not a match for you, Knight Sorrow, Misty Rain said. Mistress, I have some deductions. The Devil Blood domain has not retreated. This means that they still have a backup plan and can restrain me. Moreover, this half-step monarch realm evil demon commander is only a commander of the army. Then, what is the cultivation base of the Devil Blood domain's chief? At the very least, his combat strength is stronger than the evil demon commander. It is very likely that he is a monarch realm cultivator. If I do not enter the heaven monarch realm, it will be difficult for me to fight against him. Knight Sorrow said his dilemma. I see. Misty Rain's expression was a little ugly. Actually, I have thought about these things. I feel that everything is fate. Since we can survive until now, we can naturally survive until now. There is always a thread of fate in everything. The Qing Emperor said. Then, I will not hide it from Master. There is also the problem of the celestial sect. There are also some things that are not right for them to have a rank 9 skeleton. First of all, a rank 9 monarch realm cultivator would not become a skeleton for no reason. They must have been killed. If they can kill a monarch realm cultivator, they will be a great threat to us. Knight Sorrow simply said all his concerns. Your concerns are not unreasonable. However, the world is the world of the people. It is not the responsibility of one person. Therefore, you do not need to feel too much pressure. The Qing Emperor said. Knight Sorrow nodded. In the current situation, he could only work hard. It was useless to think about other things. He did not know about these things. These heaven monarchs had thought about it and discussed it together. However, they did not have a good way to deal with it. J is the only one, the official V version. He is the one who stole the Z version. For others, it will take a lot of time. However, it is not necessarily the case for you. Perhaps you will have an epiphany, and this door will be kicked open. The Qing Emperor said. Knight Sorrow returned to his tent. Datura, who was meditating, opened his eyes. He stood up and made a pot of tea. When they were chatting, Knight Sorrow told him about his communication with the Qing Emperor. This cannot be rushed. The last step may trap people for a long time. However, it is also possible to break through it after an epiphany. Datura said. Let's not drink tea. Let's drink some wine. Knight Sorrow took out a jar of wine. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Knight Sorrow stood up and squinted his eyes to look at something. Knight Sorrow, what's wrong? Datura asked. When the 9 zones world was moving, I discovered a few special worlds. There is a spatial world. It is the ice dragon world that I have been to before. Knight Sorrow said. Ice dragon world. Is it the ice dragon world that you obtained the true body of Bufong? Datura asked in surprise. Yes, it is that ice dragon world. Actually, I should go and take a look. After all, I gained a lot the last time I went to Ice Dragon World. Knight Sorrow thought for a while and stopped the 9 zones world from moving. He planned to go and take a look. After all, he was friends with the ice dragons. If he could visit, he would definitely visit. Speak. The fourth update has arrived. Today's update is complete. Thank you for your help. Chapter 1471. Unsealed. Night Sorrow still remembered living in the ice dragon realm for a few decades. Shi Lai treated him like a nephew while Shi Tai and Shi Yu treated him like brothers. He missed it very much. In the past, he didn't go because the ice dragon realm wasn't connected to the outside world except at certain times. It was very difficult for anyone to enter. But now, he could enter. Naturally, he had to go. His main body would stay here while his clone would go and pay a visit. Night Sorrow made his decision. After bidding farewell to Mandela and the others, Night Sorrow's avatar left the Alliance through the teleportation array and returned to the Nine Regions world. Just as Night Sorrow arrived at the world's barrier and was about to tear it open to travel through space, he detected someone outside the world's barrier. Shi Tai. Night Sorrow discovered that it was Shi Tai. At the edge of the Nine Regions world, Shi Tai tried to enter a few times, but the space collapsed and shattered, not giving him a chance to enter. No matter how he traveled, he was trapped in the spatial turbulence. Chuckle. Night Sorrow waved his arm and suppressed the spatial energy. Then, he tore open the world's barrier and quietly looked at Shi Tai. Awe. Night Sorrow. Shi Tai entered the Nine Regions world and went forward to give Night Sorrow a bear hug. I was planning to visit you and Shi Yu and also visit Uncle Lai. Then, you came. You crashed into it a few times and couldn't enter. You must feel good. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Ah. You're too unkind. You just watched me crash into the wall. To think that I came out just to drink with you. Shi Tai glared at Night Sorrow. How can you say that I'm unkind? When I found out that I could travel to the ice dragon realm, I came over immediately to find you. Come, accompany me to see Uncle Lai first. Then, you guys can come out. Night Sorrow said. Alright, I came out to scout the way. Because of your help, the elites of our ice dragon realm have all cultivated techniques. Just the wind tribulation and the fire tribulation won't threaten their lives. As for the more intense wind tribulation and the fire tribulation, it's up to fate whether they can withstand it or not. After Night Sorrow left, Shi Lai and the others focused on cultivating not leaking true body. Now that they had some achievements, Shi Tai planned to come out to scout. The ice dragons couldn't be trapped in a world forever. Up after just passing through, Shi Tai had expended a lot of energy, so he recovered and then flew towards the ice dragon realm with Yishang. After reaching the ice dragon realm, Night Sorrow and Shi Tai tore the world's barrier. The ice dragon realm is very powerful. Normally, the world's origin would restrict cultivators above the sovereign king level from entering. I can enter the ice dragon realm without any restrictions. It probably feels that I'm not a threat, Yishang said. The ice dragon realm's world's origin is in the ice dragon abyss. Maybe it's because of the existence of the ice dragons. The world's origin doesn't have a strong sense of danger. Shi Tai said. The two of them entered the ice dragon realm's area. At the profound ice river, Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array. Then, they began to fly. Because they didn't avoid anything, their speed was extremely fast. An hour later, Night Sorrow stopped. Why did you stop? My royal father and royal sister must be very anxious to see you. Shi Tai said. Hee, then you continue flying. I'll take the teleportation array. Night Sorrow pointed to the side with a smile. There's an array here. Shi Tai was a monarch, so he naturally had good eyesight. He had already discovered the illusion array that Night Sorrow had set up. Let's go. Night Sorrow brought Shi Tai into the teleportation array and began to teleport. With the teleportation array, it was naturally very fast. After 15 minutes, Night Sorrow and Shitai arrived at the Dragon King Palace. Seeing Night Sorrow, the ice dragon directly slapped Night Sorrow's shoulder heavily. "You brat, what kind of cultivation speed is this? In the blink of an eye, you've cultivated to the monarch realm. Uncle Lai, how have you been these years?" Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Good. Very good," Shi Lai said with a laugh. At this moment, Shi Yu came over. She gave Yi Shang a hug as well. After sitting down, Shi Lai asked, "How have you been recently?" "I'm all right. There's a lot going on outside. I came to see Uncle Lai, Shi Tai, and Shi Yu. I'll go back later." Night Sorrow said. "You can't go back if you don't stay for a few decades." Shi Yu glared at Night Sorrow. "Shi Yu, it's very chaotic outside. A realm war has broken out. The Reincarnation Great World, the Black-Yellow Great World, and the Shinwu Great World are fighting against the Devil Blood Realm. The situation is very bad." Night Sorrow sighed and explained the situation. "Father, are we considered a subsidiary world of these three great world groups?" Shi Tai looked at Shi Lai and asked. "Yes or no, we have to go to war too. Are we supposed to watch Night Sorrow fight in front of us like nothing happened?" Shi Yu's temper became even more irritable. The Ice Dragon Realm is actually a subsidiary world of the Azure Dragon Constellation Realm. However, we're closer to the three great worlds and farther away from the Azure Dragon Realm. It's not an exaggeration to say that we're a subsidiary world of the Reincarnation Great World. A.O. Lai said. "Uncle Lai, if the Ice Dragon Realm wants to be connected to the outside world, we'll have to set up a teleportation array. The spatial world I came from will move away later." Night Sorrow said. The Nine Regions world had only passed by the edge of the Ice Dragon Realm when it moved. Seeing that A.O. Lai didn't understand, Night Sorrow didn't hide the truth and directly explained the situation. "Uncle Lai, top-grade teleportation crystals are hard to find. The teleportation arrays used by the Nine Regions world are all built by tearing down the east wall to pay the west wall. Therefore, I don't know how to help you." Teleportation crystals. There are plenty of them. Do you have to tear down the east wall to pay the west wall? There aren't any top-grade ones. I'll go get them for you. Shi Tai got up and left. Shi Tai is very generous. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Dragons are famous for being stingy, but they won't be stingy with their brothers and friends. Night Sorrow, help Uncle Lai arrange the teleportation array. Uncle Lai's original body is now in seclusion. However, if you need anything, send a message to Uncle Lai. Uncle Lai will be there at any time. Shi Lai said. Uncle Lai is too polite. This is some tea from my hometown. Uncle Lai, take it. Night Sorrow took out a packet of heart-cleansing tea and gave it to A.O. Lai. Then Uncle Lai will take it. Shi Lai nodded. Shi Yu, I won't give you any gifts. I'm just inviting you to the Nine Regions world as a guest. When the time comes, I'll treat you warmly. Night Sorrow said to Shi Yu. Then it's settled. You must treat me warmly. Otherwise, I'll stay in your house. Shi Yu said with a smile. At that moment, Shi Lai strode back. Father, what grade is this teleportation crystal? After speaking, Shi Lai placed a large piece of teleportation crystal that was more than a foot in diameter in front of Shi Lai. It was shining with light. The Ice Dragon Abyss contains the remains of our ancestors. Your grandfather wanted to get it out, but he failed many times. However, it wasn't without results. This teleportation crystal is a 9th grade material. If you use it to set up a teleportation array, there's no place you can't teleport to. We have no use for it, so we left it in the warehouse. Shi Lai looked at it and casually tossed it to Night Sorrow. Speak. First Watch. Chapter 1472. Unseal. Uncle Lai, this is not appropriate. Night Sorrow stood up. The level 9 material was too precious, and he could not accept it. SHXS/ what's not appropriate? You discovered the secret of the heavenly mandate scepter and gave the ice dragons hope. You also gave us a chance to get out. What's a teleportation crystal? Take it. Shelia glared at Night Sorrow with a pair of copper bells. Then I'll take it. Night Sorrow smiled and nodded. You call me Uncle Lai, so you're my nephew, which is equivalent to the Prince of the Ice Dragons. Uncle Lai will not be polite with you, so don't treat Uncle Lai as an outsider. The Ice Dragon realm doesn't need to be too chaotic with the outside world. It's fine as long as it's connected to your world. This way, your world will be stable, and so will the Ice Dragon realm. Uncle Lai won't have to worry about it, Shelia said. Father is smart. Shiyu said with a smile. Shiyu, don't talk nonsense. Uncle Lai trusts you. The 9 regions world is connected to the 3 major world groups. The Ice Dragon realm can teleport to any of the 3 major world groups by teleporting to the 9 regions world, Night Sorrow said. So what if he's smart? Night Sorrow is powerful, so can't he make father worry? Shelia glared at his daughter. Shiyu curled her lips and did not say anything. These are all for you. Take them. Shelia took out a few teleportation stones. Among them, there were 2 top-level teleportation stones that were connected to the major worlds. Then I won't be polite. Uncle Lai, my strength has increased. I'll go to the Ice Dragon Abyss and see if I can get the bones of the Ice Dragons back, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Okay. But don't take the risk. Shitai, you go with him. You can make the decision to communicate with the outside world. If you don't know anything, ask Night Sorrow. Father still has to go into seclusion, Shelia said to Shitai and Night Sorrow. Shelia left and went into seclusion. Night Sorrow, my father is an outstanding genius among the ice dragons. In the past, because of the trials of wind and fire, my father didn't dare to cultivate. After you explained the profound meaning of the heavenly mandate scepter, my father has been in seclusion, vowing to reach the 9th rank Emperor realm, Shitai said. Uncle Lai can do it. Alright, Brother Tai, let's go to the Ice Dragon Abyss. I'll see if I can fish out the Ice Dragon skeleton. I'm pressed for time, so I can't stay for too long, Night Sorrow said. Knowing that the situation outside was bad, Shitai and Shiyu didn't say anything and brought Night Sorrow to the Ice Dragon Abyss. The situation in the Ice Dragon Abyss was still as bad as before. The extreme cold was rampant. However, the Night Sorrow from back then was not at the same level as now. The difference was huge. He did not even need to defend against the cold outside the Ice Dragon Abyss. His monarch-rank body could easily withstand it. When they reached the shore of the Ice Dragon Abyss, Night Sorrow looked inside the Ice Dragon Abyss. The white cold air almost froze everything. The air was still, and only the cold currents were moving. Night Sorrow, the Ice Dragon Abyss has always been a forbidden area. My father is a big shot and a Lord of Heaven, but he still can't get the skeleton back. If you have a way, try it. It doesn't matter if you can't fish it out, Shitai said. Wait for me here. Don't come near. Night Sorrow's body shook, and a murderous battle intent burst forth. Then, he flew toward the Ice Dragon Abyss. Actually, Night Sorrow didn't need to say anything. Even the talented ice dragons couldn't get close to the Ice Dragon Abyss. Seeing Night Sorrow fly forward, Shitai and Shiyu were shocked. Night Sorrow's aura was very strong now. It forcibly spread out and broke through the extreme cold that froze everything. The pressure was great. The extreme cold energy above the Ice Dragon Abyss was squeezing toward Night Sorrow. The void energy protected his body. When the extreme cold reached Night Sorrow's side, it turned into nothingness. When the distance was enough, Night Sorrow threw out the ice dragon skin tendon net that he hadn't used for a long time. The net flew out and covered one of the huge claws of the ice dragon skeleton. "Get over here!" Yi Sorrow roared. Resisting the freezing chi, he pulled with all his might with his right hand. The ice dragon abyss shook. The skeleton of the ice dragon was extremely huge. It was almost a part of the ice dragon abyss. When Night Sorrow pulled it, it caused an extremely strong energy vibration. Night Sorrow's battle intent burst forth to the limit. He resisted the pressure of heaven and earth in the ice dragon abyss. While using the void energy to protect his body, it also protected the ice dragon skin tendon net from being frozen by the extreme cold. Up! The huge skeleton of the ice dragon was moving. However, its speed was very slow. Its body was too big, like a small mountain. In addition, the extreme cold was constantly freezing it. Night Sorrow had a hard time pulling it. Rumbling sounds kept coming out. Night Sorrow and the ice dragon were getting closer and closer. An immemorial ferocious beast. Shiyu muttered softly. Night Sorrow was too powerful. The energy on his body clashed with the extreme cold, causing the energy to constantly churn. After pulling for some distance, Night Sorrow felt that he had used up a lot of energy. He shook his arm and put away the ice dragon skin tendon net, returning to the shore of the ice dragon abyss. "I thought I could withstand it, but it's still not enough. The ice dragon abyss is not only suppressed by will and laws, but also by the power of the heavenly Tao. However, if I can't do it once, I'll do it a few times. I should be able to fish it out," Night Sorrow said. Shitai and Shiyu looked at Night Sorrow as if they were looking at a monster. "Night Sorrow, are you sure you're a human?" Shiyu asked after staring at Night Sorrow for a while. "What are you asking?" "My grandfather, father, and mother are all humans. Our Night Sorrow family is also a large family in the 9 regions world. We're all humans," Night Sorrow said. "Alright, you're ruthless enough," Shiyu said. "Night Sorrow, do this a few times and you'll be able to fish out the ancestor skeleton. Also, can you do me a favor?" Shitai looked at Night Sorrow with excitement in his eyes. "Brother Tai, you're too polite. Please tell me what you need." Night Sorrow didn't understand why Shitai was so excited. "Over there. That's my childhood friend. She was cultivating in seclusion here, but she was accidentally swept in by an extreme cold current. I can't be with her for the rest of my life, but I don't want her to stay here alone. It's best if we can put her in the ancestral land." Shitai pointed at an ice dragon skeleton that was much smaller than the ice dragon king in the ice dragon abyss. "I will. If possible, I'll fish out all the ice dragon skeletons here and let them return to the ancestral land," Night Sorrow said. The ice dragon skeleton was the largest in the ice dragon abyss, and the binding power of the ice dragon abyss was also the strongest. If Night Sorrow could pull out the ice dragon skeleton, then fishing out the rest of the ice dragon skeletons wouldn't be a problem. After Night Sorrow rested for a while, he flew into the sky above the ice dragon abyss and continued to pull out the ice dragon skeleton. This time, Night Sorrow activated his virtuous body and increased the strength of pulling the ice dragon skeleton. The energy consumption was great, so Night Sorrow returned to the ice dragon abyss to rest. When Night Sorrow rested for the 3rd time, Aolai came. When he saw Night Sorrow pulling the ice dragon skeleton out, he was shocked because he couldn't do it. If he could, he would have already brought the skeleton back to the ancestral land. Speak. The 2nd chapter has arrived. Thank you, brother, for unlocking the 4th chapter yesterday. Thank you so much. Today, I'll add another chapter to thank you. I also want to add more, but because the fourth chapter is guaranteed, the workload is very large. After 3 million words, it's very difficult to write a chapter. Actually, I'm under pressure because everyone is working hard to support She-Boy. She-Boy doesn't want to write things that aren't good or interesting. That would be blasphemy, a blasphemy to everyone's support for She-Boy. Therefore, my writing speed has decreased. Please understand. Chapter 1473. After another rest, Night Sorrow finally pulled the ice dragon skeleton out of the ice dragon abyss. Ah! After pulling the ice dragon out of the ice dragon abyss, Night Sorrow let out a roar. He had done something he didn't even dare to think about in the past. However, at this moment, something strange happened. The ice dragon king skeleton that had been pulled out shone brightly. It directly sent Night Sorrow, who bore the brunt of the attack, flying backwards and spitting out blood. Yi Shang, who was flying backward, cursed in his heart. What heaven monarch realm ice dragon king? It was not. It was the ice dragon emperor of the imperial realm, the fallen ice dragon emperor. The ice dragon emperor's aura was no longer suppressed by the ice after being pulled out of the ice dragon abyss. When it burst out, it sent Night Sorrow flying. His sternum shattered, and his true chi became chaotic. Night Sorrow was heavily injured. The ice dragon emperor's aura was very powerful. It was on a completely different level from the celestial sex rank 9 skeleton. After attacking Night Sorrow, its aura was restrained. Shiyu flew over and supported Night Sorrow. Are you alright? Night Sorrow supported Shiyu's shoulder and steadied himself. He then looked at Ao Lai. I'm sorry. There are some things I didn't tell you. The ancestor wasn't an ice dragon, but a rank 9 ice dragon emperor. I'm known as the most outstanding person in the clan, but compared to the ancestor, I'm nothing, said Ao Lai. Night Sorrow nodded. He now understood. Night Sorrow, you heal first. Uncle Lai will go settle the ancestor skeleton. Shi Lai waved his arm and left the ice dragon abyss with the ice dragon emperor skeleton. You two tricked me. Remember that. Night Sorrow glared at Shi Tai and Shiyu. After drinking the life spirit liquid, he sat down and began to heal. Sister, what's going on? Why didn't I know anything about it? Shi Tai asked Shiyu. How can I know what you don't know? Shiyu was also very puzzled. Night Sorrow continued to recover. After Shilia returned, he went to Night Sorrow's side to guard him. After recuperating for half a day, Night Sorrow stood up. This time, his injuries were more serious. Night Sorrow, let's go back and talk. Zita, Shiyu, follow me. There are some things you should know and understand. After saying that, Shilia flew towards the Ice Dragon Palace. Night Sorrow and the other two followed behind. Shi Lai brought the three of them to Shi Tai's courtyard. Then Shilia revealed some secrets that no one, including the Ice Dragons, knew about. The old ancestor of the Ice Dragons was the Prince of the Azure Dragons. He was extremely talented and possessed extremely powerful ice abilities. Due to his rebellious nature, he married the princess of the Ice Dragon clan when he was traveling the world. This angered the Azure Dragons and was expelled from the Azure Dragon clan. After being expelled from the Azure Dragons, the old ancestor came to the Ice Dragon realm and gave birth to Ice Dragons. Later on, the two old ancestors left the Ice Dragon realm and went to the legendary Celestial realm. However, the old ancestor left behind a clone, which was the skeleton from earlier. Many years later, the Moon Empress became an emperor. Countless years later, the old ancestor died. The clone in the Ice Dragon realm also died. Although the body was intact, the soul was destroyed. Shilia revealed some secrets to Night Sorrow and the other two. The old ancestor might have been punished by the heavens, and so were the Ice Dragons. The tribulation of wind and fire is the product of the heavens' punishment. Many large worlds are unable to produce an emperor, but the ice dragon realm can. However, no one dares to touch the tribulation of wind and fire, Shelia continued. As Shelia explained, Night Sorrow understood one thing. A world that had never produced an emperor, even a large world, was unable to produce an emperor. This was the shackle of the heavenly Tao. The Ice Dragon realm could produce an emperor now because the old ancestor of the Ice Dragon realm had broken this shackle. This was easy to understand. The Nine Regions world could not produce a king in the past. Yi Qianhua could not enter the king realm after countless reincarnations because there was no way. After Night Sorrow became a king, it was equivalent to opening a door. Later generations could walk through this door and become a king. Ice dragons, other than the clan leader who needs to have a high cultivation level, will no longer comprehend the will after reaching the monarch realm. They are afraid of touching the forbidden door and provoking the tribulation of wind and fire, Shelia said. No one dared to touch the ice dragon's taboo. The old ancestor of the ice dragons left the heavenly mandate scepter, which was the key to unlocking the taboo. After Night Sorrow understood it, he gave the ice dragons hope. That was why Shelia dared to cultivate in seclusion and try to break through to the 9th rank. I understand. It seems that the 3 macro world groups of the chaotic realm are also limited by the shackles of the way of heaven, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a moment. Becoming an emperor in the celestial realm is the only way to break the shackles. Our ancestors were like this back then. Uncle Lai also knows this much. Now, the ice dragons do not have any records of how our ancestors went to the celestial realm. If you reach the heaven monarch realm, you can also go to the ice dragon realm. Maybe you will have a chance. After all, the ice dragon realm is a little special. Shelia nodded to Night Sorrow. Thank you, Uncle Lai, for clearing my doubts. Later, I will go and pull all the ice dragons out of the ice dragon abyss and let them rest in their ancestral land. Then, I will go back, Night Sorrow said. Although he knew some things, he was most worried about the battlefield in the black-yellow great world. That's fine. You can set up the teleportation formation in the square in front of the Ice Dragon Palace. If there is anything, you can send a message to Uncle Lai, Shelia said to Night Sorrow. Shelia was busy with his closed-door cultivation. After chatting for a while, he left, leaving Shi Yu and Shi Tai to accompany Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was injured by the Ice Dragon Emperor's counterattack. He rested for 2 days and then fished out all the Ice Dragon skeletons from the Ice Dragon Abyss. After that, he set up the teleportation formation in front of the Ice Dragon Palace. Night Sorrow planned to leave. Brother, we still have some things to deal with here. We will go find you later, Shi Tai said. I'll activate the teleportation formation here after I return. You can teleport directly to the 9-domain world, and then you can teleport to any of the 3 great worlds, Yi Shang said after embedding a teleportation crystal in the teleportation formation. Okay. Shi Tai nodded. Then, I will leave, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Here, take this. Sita gave Night Sorrow a storage ring. Brother Sita, this isn't interesting. Night Sorrow looked at Sita and frowned. Moj Nu Chapter 2D Section E Shangu, what do you mean boring? It's just some wine and a small gift. Don't waste my time. Let's go back and wait for me, Sita's arrival. Sita patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. Nodding helplessly, Night Sorrow took out the teleportation array disc and teleported to the small teleportation array he had set up. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Shi Tai and Shi Yu looked at each other. Big brother, Night Sorrow is very strong now. That's right. This fellow is indeed ridiculously strong. We'll go look for him later. Now, let's arrange the matters at hand. Shi Tai said. Taking the teleportation array, Night Sorrow returned to the 9 domains world. In the nine-domain city, Night Sorrow separated the teleportation crystal and embedded it. The teleportation array between the nine domains world and the ice dragon realm was officially opened. Then, Night Sorrow communicated with the nine domains origin body. The nine domains world could continue to move to the predetermined location. His main body was in the Black Origin Great World's battlefield and could confirm that the situation was stable. Night Sorrow entered the nine domains origin body's defensive barrier and went to the main palace next to the heaven-sealing Great Hall. That was the City Lord's mansion. The nine domains world only had one realm master, and the nine domain city only had one city lord. That was Night Sorrow. After entering the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow took out the teleportation crystal ring that Shitai had given him. Chapter 1474. After opening the storage ring, Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that there was more than just wine in the storage ring. There must be something else. As expected, there were a lot of shiny things in the storage ring. Night Sorrow took out a jade bottle. After opening the jade bottle, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. Night Sorrow could tell from the energy emitted by the blood essence that it was the blood essence of a heaven monarch realm ice dragon. It was definitely not Shelia's. Night Sorrow could feel that the aura was different. Night Sorrow understood that this was the blood essence that the ice dragons had obtained and stored in their ancestors. It was good stuff. Night Sorrow could use it to strengthen his body. Just like his cultivation, his body needed to be improved. Although he didn't use it now, when his body reached the heaven monarch realm, he needed to continue to improve it. After leaving the important things, such as the Tier 9 teleportation crystal and other resources, to the clone in the heaven sealing hall, Night Sorrow teleported back to the battlefield in the black-yellow Great World. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to change his way of thinking. His clone would cultivate the fighting spirit while his original body would relax and search for the feeling. If he could feel it, he might have the opportunity to make a breakthrough. Night Sorrow switched his protective treasure, Night. His clone used the Haotian Divine Pagoda to accelerate time to cultivate the fighting spirit while his original body walked around casually to search for the feeling. Night Sorrow's aura was getting stronger and stronger. Although the aura didn't leak out, everyone could feel that there was a peerless ferocious beast hiding in Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow entered the Devil Blood Chi and killed 2 more times. The evil soldiers couldn't do anything, but 2 heaven monarchs under their command were killed by Night Sorrow. PWD the 2 legions of the Devil Blood domain had tens of thousands of people, more than a dozen heaven monarchs, and a half-step martial emperor commander. However, they couldn't stop Night Sorrow from killing. This was a disgrace to the Devil Blood domain. Night Sorrow was fast and powerful. Besieging, chasing, and intercepting were all useless. They couldn't stop Night Sorrow's violent charge. The evil soldiers had no choice but to set up a formation to block Night Sorrow's attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow was the god of war in the hearts of the allied forces of the 3 realms. No one could stop Night Sorrow. If he wanted to kill his way into the Devil Blood Chi, he could do so. The soldiers of the Devil Blood domain could only retreat. After drinking with the god-slaying team, Night Sorrow went to senior brother Sandal's tent. You 2 have troubled your martial uncle again. Remember, when you trouble your martial uncle again, you must prepare some good wine and dishes, Yishang said as he looked at his children. After chatting with Jean Tan for a while, Night Sorrow left. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Jean Tan nodded. Although your father doesn't care, no matter where he goes, he'll always be the center of attention. He'll always shine. But father has sacrificed too much behind the scenes, said Yi Qingyan in a low voice. Time passed. Night Sorrow still couldn't find the opportunity to break through. This was something he couldn't do anything about. The will of nothingness had reached 99%, but it just wasn't perfect. While Night Sorrow was searching for the opportunity to break through, the battle broke out again. Xia Bing's senior brother, Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao, had come out of seclusion. Knowing that his junior brother had suffered a setback and had suffered a loss, Lai Bing was furious. He brought his guards to the Xuanhuan Great World through the void wormhole. Seeing Lai Bing, Xia Bing was somewhat excited. He had suffered too much in the past few years. "Junior brother, what's going on?" Lai Bing sat in the main seat in the tent. The other side sent out a monster. "I can't take it down. The dandelion devil blood insects have suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, one of the larvae is a dandelion mother insect. But it takes a long time to reproduce," said Xia Bing. "Don't worry. Let's kill our way over first. Later, I'll bring my insects over. Then everything will be solved," said Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao coldly. Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao and Xia Bing of the Demonic Tao had different styles. Lai Bing of the Heavenly Tao's aura was very violent, with a very strong pressure. "I'll leave everything to you, senior brother." Xia Bing nodded. In his life, the person he admired the most was his senior brother Lai Bing. Lai Bing was even more admirable than the magic dragon general. Knight Sorrow stood in front of the Xuanhuan Great World's allied army's camp, looking into the distance. He already knew that something was wrong. Because of the opportunity, he sensed the arrival of experts. "Father, why do you look so serious?" Yi Qingyan went to Knight Sorrow's side. "A great battle is coming. Perhaps I won't be able to resist. Take your brother, and senior sister and leave. I'll be enough to fight at the front." "You don't need to do anything," said Knight Sorrow. "Father." Yi Qingyan's eyes were filled with shock. She had never seen her father speak so seriously before. "Listen to your father. Take your brother and leave." Sandalwood also arrived. Experts were very sensitive to auras. She also understood that the situation was very dangerous. "Senior brother, the other side is very strong. Be careful." Knight Sorrow's clone came out of seclusion and merged with his main body. The Haotian godly pagoda also entered his main body. "Junior brother, the other side has 2 half-step emperors. We might not be able to handle them." "What should we do?" asked Sandalwood, looking at Knight Sorrow. "Let's fight and see what happens," said Knight Sorrow, looking at the rolling devil blood energy. Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and the others all went to Knight Sorrow's side. "Master, get ready to retreat. If we can't handle it, we have to retreat." "We can't lose anyone," said Knight Sorrow. "All right." The Lotus Supreme the Arch nodded. At this moment, he also understood how dangerous the situation was. Knight Sorrow could fight a half-step Imperial Realm cultivator, but his opponent was not a half-step Imperial Realm cultivator. Standing in front of the camp, Knight Sorrow waited for the battle. Actually, he felt that the current situation was dangerous, but it was not hopeless. If an emperor appeared, it would be a truly hopeless situation. "I'll try my best to stop the 2 of them. However, I have clones, but they must have clones as well. So, if I can't stop them, the Lords of Heaven have to think of a way to hold them back." "We can't let them form an army," said Knight Sorrow. "Don't worry. The Wuling Mountain Master and I will cooperate to stop them." Lord of Heaven Shin Hu and the Wuling Mountain Master nodded. During this time, the Lords of Heaven had also cultivated the combined attack formation. Their main focus was defense. They had no chance of winning against half-step emperors, so defense was the most important thing. While Knight Sorrow was giving instructions, Lai Bing and Xia Bing led the army out of the Devil Blood Energy camp and to the front of the camp. "Who is Knight Sorrow? Come out and die." Lai Bing of the Natural Law waved his halberd and shouted. Chapter 1475. Lai Bing's aura was stronger than evil soldiers. He stood there with energy rolling around him. This situation made Knight Sorrow realize that a half-step Imperial Realm warrior was the same as a half-step king. A half-step Imperial Realm warrior could not be compared to a half-step king with 70% will. The same was true for a half-step Imperial Realm warrior. Li Bing and Evil Soldier had a huge gap between them. No matter how strong he was, Knight Sorrow had to fight because he had too many people and things to protect behind him. Qualifications. Whoever I want to kill will die. This rule has existed for countless years. You are no exception. Li Bing's aura was getting stronger and stronger, causing energy waves to ripple in all directions. I don't hate fighting. Fighting is a process of tempering, and it's also a method to solve problems. However, I really dislike people who boast shamelessly and say that they'll kill this and that. Can't they think about who they are? Being low-key is the most basic principle. Don't you understand this principle? Hearing Li Bing's arrogant words, Knight Sorrow was disgusted and retorted directly. Li Bing waved his halberd and laughed. Countless years had passed and no one had dared to talk to him like this. Yi Shang's words didn't give him any face at all. Yi Shang respected his opponent, but the prerequisite was that the opponent was worthy of respect. After Li Bing appeared, he spoke arrogantly. He was very disgusted. No need to laugh. How are we going to fight today? I can handle one of you. If two of you come, I, Knight Sorrow, can handle it, Knight Sorrow said coldly. Even if you are a Lord of Heaven or a half-step Imperial Realm warrior, Li Bing will not fight with others, Li Bing said. Ha! This is not something you can decide. This is a war. If he comes out, I will take it. Knight Sorrow reached out and pulled out some Sara from behind him. Looking at Knight Sorrow, Li Bing revealed his fighting style. Your words are sharp, saying that Evil Soldier can't fight. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if our army doesn't fight today. It's just you and me. After I kill you, it doesn't matter when I kill them. They're just a bunch of ants. What can they do? Knight Sorrow's body swayed and came to the front of the battlefield. Then, he waved some Sara. Come. Li Bing jumped toward Knight Sorrow in the air. He carried the power of heaven and earth with him as if he was going to press Knight Sorrow into the darkness. Knight Sorrow's battle intent burst forth. The murderous battle intent rippled in all directions, blocking the dark aura outside his body. At this moment, Li Bing's halberd was aimed at Knight Sorrow's head. Knight Sorrow swung some Sara. With a loud explosion, the two of them separated. Yi Shan was pushed back a distance of 5 to 6 meters while Li Bing was also pushed back in the air. Then, the two rushed forward at the same time and fought again. Li Bing was of the death attribute. The power of heaven and earth he carried was the power of death. His moves were also very big. His strength and Jin Qi were very violent. Knight Sorrow's battle intent was released. He resisted the suppression of the dark aura. Then, he used the will of nothingness to protect his body and fought with Li Bing. Very strong. Li Bing was much stronger than Evil Soldier. Not only in terms of cultivation, but also in terms of actual fighting strength. However, Knight Sorrow was not afraid. As long as he was not defeated in an instant, Knight Sorrow could hold on. Samsara used the 3 ultimate skills of Void Extreme Point Kill, Time Vibration Wave, and Space Revolving Dragon Kill to fight against Li Bing. Everyone held their breath. This battle was too important. It was related to the direction of the war. In addition, it was a battle between top experts. It was rare to see and could be used as a reference. Original version ****** Misty Rain, who was about to bring Knight Sorrow's children and disciples to the teleportation array, stopped. It's not a group battle. There is no danger. You should also watch such a battle. See how experts fight. It was rare to see a battle between experts. Misty Rain also hoped that the children could increase their knowledge. If it was when the realm war had just started, Night Sorrow might not be Lai Bing's opponent. However, it was different now. Night Sorrow's cultivation increased by the Haotian godly pagoda. He rushed from middle-class monarch to high-class monarch. This was only an increase in realm. In terms of actual fighting strength, Night Sorrow had also increased a lot. His body was strengthened by the White Tiger's blood essence and kept up with the myriad Tao Tome's cultivation realm. His body was at high-class monarch. The increase in soul spirit power was even greater. Night Sorrow had refined 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid and was now in the process of refining the 4th drop. 3 drops of soul cultivation liquid was the limit for ordinary monarchs. However, Night Sorrow's situation was special. He cultivated the myriad Tao Tome. His divine sea was 1/3 larger than ordinary cultivators. With a larger capacity, there was more room for improvement. The 2 basic attributes of a cultivator were the body and the soul spirit. Night Sorrow had reached the level of ordinary monarchs. Even heaven monarchs could not reach these 2 attributes. Therefore, his actual fighting strength could no longer be measured by his current realm. Night Sorrow and Lai Bing were fighting in the air. The energy sputtered in all directions. Spatial cracks and spatial vortexes constantly appeared. Because of Night Sorrow's special void attribute, the sputtering energy disappeared around him but could not hurt him. Do you see? This is your father and master. As a monarch, killing a heaven monarch is as easy as flipping one's hand. Even when fighting a half-step monarch, they are not at a disadvantage. This is an unprecedented and splendid battle record. Misty Rain lamented. Right now, she was not worried but lamenting. If she was in the market, she would be instantly defeated and killed. She did not have the ability to fight at all. Father, don't you have powerful battle clones? Why don't you use them? Yi Qingyan asked, puzzled. It's unwise to use all our trump cards when we don't know how strong our opponent is. Moreover, our opponent has a half-step martial monarch. It's better to stabilize the situation first and seek victory later, said Heavenly Monarch Yufei. On the battlefield, Night Sorrow didn't use any of his ultimate moves. He wasn't afraid of exhausting his energy. Although his opponent's energy was much denser than his, he had secretive true body. He wouldn't waste a single bit of energy in battle. Not being able to take down Night Sorrow, Lai Bing was a little angry. He was the strongest expert in the Devil Blood Weave's 3 great worlds besides the chief, the magic dragon general. Now, he was evenly matched with a monarch. How could he endure this? Moreover, both armies and tens of thousands of Devil Blood Weave soldiers were watching. Lai Bing's body trembled as his clones appeared. Both the original body and the clone held a halberd and surrounded Night Sorrow to attack. Is this why you have the confidence to boast so shamelessly? You have battle clones. Do you think others don't have battle clones? Night Sorrow's body shook as his clone appeared as well. After using the battle doppelganger, Yishang also used the afterimage body. Both his true body and doppelganger had used the afterimage body. Amidst the countless afterimages, Yishang's true body and doppelganger rushed towards Lai Bing's doppelganger. He realized that the gap between Lai Bing's doppelganger and his true body was not small. If he could defeat Lai Bing's doppelganger with his full strength, it would be a great victory. Speak. The 5th update has arrived. Today's update has been completed. Thank you, brother, for your support. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your support. Chapter 1476. Night Sorrow and his doppelganger used residual shadow at the same time, which stunned Lai Bing. He didn't know which one to attack. Night Sorrow's residual shadow was formed by the combination of soul energy and genuine qi. It was hard to tell the real one from the fake. When Lai Bing decided to use a wide-range attack, Night Sorrow and his doppelganger used their unique skills at the same time. First, two space cracks appeared, separating Lai Bing from his doppelganger. Then they used Soul Destruction Slash at the same time, and the crescent blade formed by soul energy attacked Lai Bing's doppelganger. After the soul attack, Night Sorrow used Emperor Reincarnation Slash and Death Destruction Slash to attack Lai Bing's doppelganger. Yishang didn't make a move, but once he did, it was a thunderous attack. Although he didn't know if he could seriously injure Lai Bing, Yishang didn't want to let go of even the slightest chance. Once Lai Bing's doppelganger was killed, the situation of the battle would be changed. If something happened to Lai Bing's doppelganger, then there would only be 3 of them left. Lai Bing could fight against 2 of them, and the Master of Wuling Mountain and Lord of Heaven Shenhu could fight against 1 of them together. 2 black space cracks appeared between Lai Bing and his doppelganger. Then the black halo of Death Destruction Slash and the purple halo of Emperor Reincarnation Slash fell on Lai Bing's doppelganger one after another. Q update: our most % fast P black light appeared on Lai Bing's doppelganger, and then it gathered on his head. It collided with the soul attack of Death Destruction Slash and was annihilated together. Then the purple halo of Night Sorrow's Emperor Reincarnation Slash fell on his head. The black halo appeared on Lai Bing again, and then it gathered on his head to fend off Night Sorrow's soul attack. The black halo blocked the halo of Emperor Reincarnation Slash, but Night Sorrow's crescent blade of Soul Destruction Slash also penetrated his spirit sea. Then another crescent blade broke the black halo and entered his spirit sea, slashing inside. Lai Bing's doppelganger was trapped in a soul defense battle, and his body couldn't attack or defend. Sky-shaking roar. Lai Bing knew his doppelganger's situation, so he shouted anxiously. This wasn't an ordinary roar. It was the heaven-shaking roar. In the devil blood domain, the sky-shaking roar of the sky-shaking roar was famous. Even the king would be shocked out of his wits by this roar, and even the monarchs would be severely injured. It was just a roar, and the attack that followed after that roar was very difficult to defend against. The shockwave caused by the roar rushed towards Night Sorrow, his doppelganger, and all his afterimages. Night Sorrow's afterimages couldn't withstand the shockwave and were instantly destroyed. After the roar shattered Night Sorrow's afterimage, the sound wave continued to move forward. Its target was Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger. Suppress. Night Sorrow's original body's protective magic treasure, the Haotian godly pagoda, appeared in front of his doppelganger. His original body activated the 9-region origin bead to protect his spirit sea, and then continued to attack Lai Bing's doppelganger. This defense was because Night Sorrow found that the sky-shaking roar was both a soul and a physical attack. Putting aside the physical defense, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger's physical defense were similar. However, there was a difference in soul defense. His original body had the 9-region origin beads defense, while his doppelganger's soul defense was weaker. The Haotian godly pagoda could block all attacks. After blocking Lai Bing's original body's ultimate skill, Night Sorrow's original body used the Void Extreme Point Kill. The Samsara pierced into Lai Bing's doppelganger's body, and then it vibrated with energy. Pale purple light spots exploded in Lai Bing's body, directly annihilating a hole in his chest. At the same time, the Samsara's soul attack energy also rushed into Lai Bing's doppelganger's soul. Go to hell. When Lai Bing's doppelganger was seriously injured and could not move or resist, Night Sorrow's doppelganger rushed over. The space splitter pierced through the doppelganger's head through his temple. However, Lai Bing's original body arrived at this time, and his halberd pierced through Night Sorrow's doppelganger's chest. The Void Extreme Point Kill, Night Sorrow's original body's Samsara, directly rushed towards Lai Bing's original body. Feeling the strong aura of Night Sorrow's Samsara, Lai Bing felt that he could not continue to hurt Night Sorrow's doppelganger, so he pulled out his halberd and blocked the Night Sorrow's samsara. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger continued to rush forward. Then, the dragon cauldron appeared, and the lifeless doppelganger was sucked into the dragon cauldron. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger's chest had a bloody hole. However, it was not a big problem. To others, it might be a serious injury, but to Night Sorrow, it was only an external injury. Father. Father is injured. Yi Qingyan, who was watching the battle, was somewhat excited. Don't worry. Your father's aura and vigor are not weakened, which means it is not serious. He is not fundamentally injured. Misty Rain pressed Yi Qingyan's shoulder. Come on. You can play however you want. After killing Lai Bing's doppelganger, Night Sorrow's original body began to defend. To put it bluntly, he was trying to delay. Lai Bing's aura became weaker. His doppelganger was destroyed, and his original body's soul was severely injured. Today, I was ambushed by you. I will kill you another day. Lai Bing's body flashed and rushed towards the camp of the Devil Blood Boundary Army. At this time, Night Sorrow's doppelganger had arrived. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were fighting against him together. Even if he could hold on, he would not be able to do anything. Night Sorrow did not chase after him. There was no possibility of killing Lai Bing's original body, so it was meaningless to continue. Those who provoke me will be killed by me. As long as I am alive, I will be your nightmare. Night Sorrow waved his right hand, and samsara fell into the trap on his back. Then, his original body and doppelganger merged together and flew back to the camp of the Black-Yellow Great World. How is it? Datura stood beside Night Sorrow. I need to deal with it. This amount of time is not a problem, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. In fact, Lai Bing's halberd had pierced through Night Sorrow's doppelganger. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was also greatly injured. Now, Night Sorrow was using the underworld stone to suppress it, so he could not perform the great death-shattering cut. Okay. Datura nodded. She was not afraid of Night Sorrow getting hurt. As long as he did not die and did not affect his future, it was fine. Who has a sealed soul crystal ball? Night Sorrow looked at the group of Lords of Heaven. What do you mean? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow and asked. That guy's soul power has been confined by my space magic treasure. It is still being suppressed. I plan to imprison him, Night Sorrow said. Master has it. Here are 2. Take them. Qing Emperor took out 2 soul crystal balls and handed them to Night Sorrow. After putting away the soul crystal balls, Night Sorrow cupped his hands toward the group of Lords of Heaven and then returned to his tent. After entering the tent, Night Sorrow made the dragon cauldron appear. After entering, he sealed the soul of Lai Bing's doppelganger into the soul crystal ball. Lai Bing's soul power was suppressed by the dragon cauldron and could not resist. Night Sorrow handed the crystal ball that sealed Lai Bing's soul power to Datura. Aluo, see how to deal with it so that it can keep hurting him. I have a way. How about your doppelganger? Can he still participate in the battle? Datura asked. Speak. First watch. Chapter 1477. Yes. My doppelganger is currently healing in the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Without the underworld stone, it would be very troublesome. Now, I am using the underworld stone to suppress and refine the qi of death left in Lai Bing's body. It is not very difficult. Yi Shan opened his mouth and said. Father, are you okay? Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun entered the tent. Yi Qingyan went to Night Sorrow's side. I'm fine. You must be careful. Only then can I have nothing to worry about. Night Sorrow patted his daughter's shoulder and said. Night Sorrow, you have achieved great results this time. It is equivalent to giving the enemy a heavy blow. Qing Emperor also came to Night Sorrow's tent. Lucky. I was really lucky this time. The enemy underestimated me. If he started to use the sound wave unique skill with his doppelganger, I would be in a passive position. I would not have the chance to expand my victory at all, Night Sorrow said. Grasping opportunities is an ability. Grasping opportunities is also an ability. Night Sorrow, this is the troubled times tree spirit sap that can restore your body. Give it a try. Tang Jianfang took out 2 jade bottles and placed them on the table beside Night Sorrow. Thank you, City Lord Tang. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Tang Jianfang. Don't say that. The crisis of the Xuanhuan Great World is all on you. In fact, helping is a favor. Not helping is my duty. I know it very well. Tang Jianfang sighed. It was mainly because he felt too powerless. He was a lord of heaven, but he had almost no influence on the battle. After chatting with Night Sorrow and Qing Emperor for a while, Tang Jianfang left. He still had a lot of things to arrange. The direction of the battle was not easy to predict. Thus, Tang Jianfang had to make some arrangements. At present, the group of Lords of Heaven had discussed 2 strategies. One was Night Sorrow. If he could hold off the 2 half-step monarchs, the situation could be stabilized. The other situation was that if Night Sorrow could not hold on, they would have to retreat. They would use a war of attrition and a protracted war to exhaust the enemy. No matter what, they could not lose too many people. If they wanted to retreat without suffering any losses, they would have to set up some formations to block the enemy's attacks. Those who stayed behind would have time to retreat. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was using the underworld stone to heal himself in the time-accelerated space of the Haotian Divine Pagoda. His original body was talking to his master, his wife, and his children. Night Sorrow, don't treat the troubled times tree spirit elixir lightly. It's a diluted treasure that has a strong healing effect on the body. If you're injured, just 2 drops will quickly heal you. Qing Emperor reminded Night Sorrow. When he saw Night Sorrow casually put away the troubled times tree spirit fluid that Tang Jianfang had left behind, he didn't pay much attention to it. So that's how it is. Then we have to take this seriously. Good steel should be used on the edge of a blade. Only use it when you're injured in battle. Right now, my clone won't have a problem recovering, so there's no need for top-grade resources, Night Sorrow said. Okay, be careful, Qing Emperor reminded Night Sorrow. After Qing Emperor left, Night Sorrow looked at his children and said, "You 2 are so troublesome. It's useless to chase you away. You promised your father that you'd stay with your Aunt Aluo. When she goes out to battle, you have to leave." "Thank you, father." Yi Qingyan sat down beside Night Sorrow and hugged her father's arm. "I really don't know what to do with you 2, Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Wherever father is, it's the safest place in the world." "Father, you're so impressive today." "Kaka. Let's kill whoever boasted." Yi Qingyan waved her right hand and made a killing gesture. Strength is fundamental, but there are many factors that determine victory and defeat. You 2 should take a look. Here are the transmission array discs, illusion array discs, and killing array discs. Father will set up a temporary transmission point later. If the situation doesn't look good, use the illusion array discs and killing array discs first, then activate the transmission array discs and leave. Night Sorrow took out a few array discs and a transmission crystal. He cut it and inlaid the transmission array discs, then handed them to Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun. "Your father has thought of everything for you 2, so you have to pay attention to your safety," Datura said. "Understood, Aunt." Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun nodded. They understood their father and knew what was most important to him. "Aluo, take these array discs to Ningyun and Chiue. They can't let anything happen to them." Night Sorrow gave a few array discs to Datura, then got up and left the tent. He had given his children and disciples the transmission array discs, so there should be a corresponding transmission array. Knight Sorrow didn't want to see any accidents happen to the safety of his children and disciples. It was not difficult for Knight Sorrow to fly 500,000 kilometers to set up a teleportation array and come back. It only took him a little time to do it. When Knight Sorrow returned, only Datura was left in the tent. Arrow, I still have the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger. What should we do with it? Knight Sorrow asked. He knew that he was not as experienced as Datura. The skeleton of a half-step emperor is extremely valuable, but it also depends on who has it. If it is in the hands of the celestial sect, then it would be an extremely powerful battle puppet. However, we don't have any means to use it here yet. We can use the skeleton of his doppelganger to attack his true body, Datura said. This is a war, and the outcome of the war is victory or defeat. If it were just me alone, I wouldn't use any other methods. But now that millions of living beings are involved, I can't care so much, Knight Sorrow said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, you made the right decision. They were the ones who started the war. The cultivators who are half a step away from the Imperial realm are already unscrupulous in attacking you. Since that's the case, there's no need for us to be polite. Give me the skeleton and I'll throw it into the dark abyss to feed the evil spirits. The evil spirits will affect me greatly, said Mandela. Then you do it. Knight Sorrow threw the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger to Datura. Datura took the remains of Lai Bing and left through the teleportation array. After returning to the dark abyss in the reincarnation world, Datura threw the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger into the group of evil spirits in the dark abyss. After solving the problem of the remains of Lai Bing's doppelganger, Datura reached out his right hand and captured the king of evil spirits. Then, he imprisoned it in the crystal ball that trapped the soul of Lai Bing's doppelganger. In the big tent in the devil blood chi, Lai Bing, who was meditating, stood up. At the same time, he destroyed everything in front of him with a palm strike. At this moment, his soul was in pain. He was enduring the pain of his soul being gnawed. Damn it! What did they do to my doppelganger's soul power? Lai Bing was going crazy. He knew that he was being attacked. His doppelganger's soul was being attacked, and his body was in unbearable pain. Xia Bing came to Lai Bing's tent. Senior brother, what happened? Junior brother, this time I failed miserably. Not only did my doppelganger die, but now the enemy is attacking my doppelganger's remains and soul. If I don't solve this problem, it will be a big problem. Let alone my future achievements, I don't even know if I can survive. Lai Bing understood the seriousness of the problem. Say second update. Thank you for unlocking yesterday's chapter. Chapter 1480. A genius remembers love in 1 second. I'll bring you an exciting novel to read. Knight Sorrow saw the destruction of a spatial world. It was a scene of destruction when one's lifespan was exhausted. First, the land, sea, and space in the spatial world all cracked. Then, the spatial world was compressed toward the center. Then, there was a violent explosion. The huge spatial world collapsed instantly. Mountains, rivers, and everything turned into nothingness. The spatial origin couldn't withstand it and was annihilated into nothingness. The collapse of the spatial world gave Knight Sorrow some inspiration. All along, Knight Sorrow's forte in the void attribute was the void extreme point kill. It was also the starting point for him to comprehend the rules and willpower. That was the starting point. What Knight Sorrow needed now was the ending point. At this moment, Knight Sorrow saw the ending point. The 10,000 creations' ultimate destruction was a perfect cycle. It was a completely different feeling. The void extreme point kill used a point to erupt and radiate in all directions. What was displayed in front of Knight Sorrow now? It was the great annihilation where everything returned to the origin to the extreme. With this realization, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger instantly switched positions. The original body entered the Haugyan godly pagoda to organize what he had just learned. The doppelganger appeared in front of everyone to suppress the current situation. The original body went to comprehend while Night Sorrow's doppelganger waved his arm. What's wrong? Datura, who took time to go back to the city in the sky to see his son, came back. Opportunity, I found an opportunity. Night Sorrow grabbed Datura's shoulders with both hands and said excitedly. What? You just became a peak monarch not long ago, and you found an opportunity. You're not lying to me. Datura was also a little excited. A monarch and a heaven monarch were completely different concepts. Night Sorrow's peak monarch could fight against a half-step imperial realm cultivator. He could even kill one, but it was still a little difficult. Because his own level was not high enough and his realm was not high enough, he could only rely on his battle techniques and the void attribute to suppress his opponent. However, when he reached the heaven monarch realm, it was different. It was a perfect ending for a tier 8 expert. I'm not lying to you. It was really a coincidence. When the 9 Zones world was moving, I used the perspective of the 9 Zones world origin to see the great destruction of a space world. I have the starting point of the nihility will, but what I lack is the end. The great destruction is the end, Night Sorrow said. If that's all right, then I'll be waiting to congratulate you. Datura was extremely happy. No matter how strong a woman was, she still wanted to see her man achieve something. If everything goes well, there won't be a problem. I need to prepare for my tribulation, said Night Sorrow. Tribulation? You idiot. The heaven monarch realm is a perfected realm. It is not a new realm. There is no thunder tribulation. Only when one enters the king realm and the arch realm will there be thunder tribulation. Datura said with a smile. She found it strange. Night Sorrow, who had some knowledge and some things at an idiot level, had cultivated to this realm in less than 200 years. It was simply unimaginable. I am an idiot, but my wife is not an idiot. I don't need to worry about anything, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Great wisdom can be foolish. That's right for people like you. Simple, but perfect. Datura took out a bottle of wine and poured 2 cups for himself and Night Sorrow. Father, Auntie, your little life is really good. Yi Qingyan entered the tent. You naughty child. You say everything. Datura glared at Yi Qingyan. Auntie, I was wrong. Father, are you in a good mood? Yi Qingyan looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Not bad. You and Lord Feather have made good progress recently. Night Sorrow nodded at his daughter. Night Sorrow did not tell his daughter about himself. He did not want to affect her life. The original body was comprehending the last bit of will in the Haugyan godly pagoda. Night Sorrow began to study new combat skills. He had developed the void extreme kill in the past. Now that he had a new understanding, he could study combat skills. When Night Sorrow was studying combat skills every day, a big figure came to the demon blood world. It was the high priest of the demon blood world. Although he was a heaven monarch, his status in the demon blood world was very high. Even the leader demon blood general respected him greatly. He had many means to solve problems that could not be solved by force. Kofu's figure was a little weak. He looked like a scholar. His face was pale and his breath was pale. Xia Bing brought him to Lai Bing's tent. Seeing Lai Bing's weak state, Kofu shook his head and said, Lai Bing, you have been greatly affected. Lai Bing stood up and said, High Priest, I wasn't careful enough this time and fell into the enemy's trap. Now, the enemy is using my doppelganger's soul force and bones to continuously attack the main body. I can't stand it anymore. Then Khufu asked about the situation. He checked Lai Bing and said, "The situation is not good. If you can't get back your doppelganger's soul power and skeleton through negotiation, you have to destroy them. If this continues, you will feel fear in your heart and your Tao heart will collapse. Negotiation won't work. I went to talk to them. They didn't want to talk at all." Xia Bing said helplessly. "Then you have to think about why they don't want to talk. There is nothing in this world that can't be talked about. The key is to grasp the key point. Why don't they want to talk? It's because your existence is a threat. As long as it's not a threat and you pay the price, there is nothing that can't be talked about," Khufu said. Indeed, they don't want to return Senior Brother's avatar's soul power and skeleton because they're worried that we'll attack Senior Brother after he recovers. If we promise Senior Brother that we won't participate in this war and pay a price, they'll negotiate with us, Khufu said. Xia Bing understood the key point. No. We all know the strength of that night's sorrow. If I withdraw from this war, it will be difficult for you to win. High Priest, please use a secret technique to destroy my doppelganger's soul and skeleton. This way, I can continue to fight after I recover. The Devil Blood Domain must win this war, Lai Bing said. If that's the case, Lai Bing, you can't withdraw from the war. Then we can talk about a time limit. After you get back your doppelganger's soul and skeleton, you have to promise not to participate in this war for a few years. It's best if we don't destroy your doppelganger's soul and skeleton, Khufu said. Then let's talk tomorrow. Xia Bing thought for a while and said. He naturally didn't want Lai Bing to suffer heavy losses. Forever Axe Free / #read PQ Novels Night Sorrow was still cultivating his ultimate skill called the Nihility Returns to Origin Kill. The Nihility Extremity Kill used a single point to destroy everything. The Nihility Returns to Origin Kill was the exact opposite. It gathered a large amount of nihility energy at a single point before exploding and collapsing. The power was equally astonishing. Seeing Night Sorrow's new combat skill taking shape, Datura knew that Night Sorrow wouldn't be obstructed from entering the Heaven Monarch realm. Once the new combat skill was completed, the last bit of willpower wouldn't be a problem. Chapter 1481. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? I'll bring you a wonderful novel to read. Seeing the enemy's troops appear, Night Sorrow carried Lai Kong to the front of the formation. Is there a change of people this time? Night Sorrow asked. He could see that the other side had no intention of fighting. If they wanted to fight, they wouldn't have sent 2 people. Young man, we can talk, said Khufu. Is there a need to talk? Night Sorrow looked at Khufu. Talking is one thing. Success or failure is another. It mainly depends on sincerity and the price. If the price is high enough, then the negotiation will be successful, said Khufu with a smile. I want Lai Bing to lose his ability to fight. I want him to live a life worse than death. What price can you pay to get him back? I don't think so, said Night Sorrow with a smile. You don't want Lai Bing to lose his ability to fight because he threatens the safety of the Chaos Realm. But have you thought about it? With your current methods, losing his ability to fight is only temporary. I'm here to solve this problem. You don't have to doubt that I can solve it. The drawback is that Lai Bing needs time to recover. I'm here to talk to you. During this time, Lai Bing won't fight. You can name the price, said Khufu. How long will it take? Night Sorrow thought for a moment and asked. 3 years. After 3 years, you can do whatever you want, said Khufu. It's not impossible for him to not fight for 3 years, but the price. Are you prepared to pay a big price? Asked Night Sorrow. There's nothing to be prepared for. We have to talk until both sides agree, said Khufu with a smile. I originally wanted to torture him to death. If you're willing to pay a big price to get him back, it's not impossible. 3 years, right? 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones a year. Don't haggle. I don't really want to talk about it. Night Sorrow said. Then let's go back and discuss it. Khufu cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow. He could see that there was no point in negotiating because Night Sorrow wouldn't make any concessions. After seeing Khufu and Xia Bing leave, Night Sorrow turned around and returned to the United Army camp. Tang Jianfang and Qing Emperor followed closely behind and also went to Night Sorrow's tent because they were very anxious. Night Sorrow, this isn't a good idea. If that guy recovers, we won't be able to hold on. No amount of Saint Spirit stones will be of any use. Tang Jianfang's face was filled with anxiety. Yeah, Night Sorrow, what do you think this time? Qing Emperor asked. He needs 3 years, but I don't. Maybe a year, maybe half a year, maybe even less, and I can completely suppress them, Night Sorrow said. What do you mean? Why don't I understand? Tang Jianfang was confused. Night Sorrow found an opportunity to break through. His original body is in seclusion, and it's only a matter of time before he breaks through to the heavenly monarch realm. Datura waved his hand and said after setting up a barrier. That person is only a heavenly monarch, but his aura is strange. It's similar to Uncle Xian Daozi. I think he does have a way to solve Lai Bing's problem. If that's the case, it's best to get some resources. He won't fight for 3 years, and that's what I want, Night Sorrow said. Sorry. I misunderstood you. Then let's do it this way. 3,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. No matter how rich the devil blood domain is, they will lose a lot of money, Tang Jianfang said. He was in a good mood because he saw hope. There was a difference between a sovereign realm and a heavenly monarch realm. Night Sorrow was a sovereign realm now, but everyone had seen his combat strength. Once he entered the heavenly monarch realm, his strength would increase tremendously. The opponent's half-step sovereign realm would no longer be a threat. Very good. Master is waiting to celebrate for you and for myself. Brother Tang, if both of my disciples enter the heavenly monarch realm, I, as a master, will be unprecedented. Qing Emperor said with a smile. He was also very happy. That goes without saying. Night Sorrow, we won't disturb you anymore. Let's go for a drink. Tang Jianfang pulled Qing Emperor out of Night Sorrow's tent. Night Sorrow and Datura chatted casually. He was very relaxed now. He was very confident that as long as he reached the heavenly monarch realm, he would be able to solve this crisis. Lai Bing needed 3 years, and in reality, 3 years was enough for Night Sorrow to cultivate in the Haotian Divine Pagoda for 150 years. At this time, in the big tent in the Devil Blood Chi, Khufu, Lai Bing, and Xia Bing were also talking. 3 million. He must be crazy. What does he think it is? A stone. Lai Bing was furious when he heard that Night Sorrow wanted 3,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. He only had a little more than 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones in his collection. He couldn't afford 3,000,000 Saint Spirit stones from Night Sorrow. Lai Bing, have you thought about it? As long as you are fine, why would you care about the Saint Spirit stones? As long as we take over the Chaos Realm, they won't spit out the 3,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. Khufu looked at Lai Bing and reminded him. That's right. As long as we can take over the Chaos Realm, not to mention spitting out the 3,000,000 Saint Spirit stones, we can even plunder a few million Saint Spirit stones. I can gather 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones, Xia Bing said. Then I will make the decision to transfer 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones from our Devil Blood City Lord Mansion. However, you have to pay it back as soon as possible, Khufu said. Thank you, High Priest. Lai Bing nodded at Khufu. I can help you destroy the soul and body of your doppelganger, but you will suffer a great loss and your origin will be damaged. It's best if you can get it back. Then you have to find a way to gather 2 million Saint Spirit stones. I will go back and get 1 million for you. We have to be fast. Don't let that guy change his mind. Anything can happen before we reach a deal. He is young and inexperienced, but there are still some old guys. After reminding Lai Bing and Xia Bing, Khufu left to help gather the Saint Spirit stones. Night Sorrow had been studying the void returning to origin kill. In addition, he was also trying to combine the extreme point kill and the returning to origin kill. One was to break the surface, while the other was to combine the 4 sides. They were 2 completely different extremes. If they could complement and multiply each other, the power would be great. After practicing the Dharma body, Night Sorrow had breakfast with Datura and his children in the morning. They mainly chatted. Night Sorrow also asked about his children's practice. At this time, Yi Qingyan and Yi Yujun were both at the peak of the Saint realm. In addition to practicing fighting skills, they also needed to enter the return to origin realm. At this time, Xia Bing and Khufu appeared. They had spent a lot of time to gather enough Saint Spirit stones. Now, they planned to trade with Night Sorrow. They were afraid that a long delay might lead to trouble. Night Sorrow rode the ice Qilin to the front of the battlefield. 3 million Saint Spirit stones are here. As long as you return the soul and body of my senior brother's doppelganger, it will be yours. Xia Bing showed the storage ring in his hand. Square root head equals hair, you are really rich. It seems that I asked for too little. But it's okay. Tell Lai Bing to come out. Some things need to be solved by the person involved. Aluo, go and bring that skeleton here. Night Sorrow turned around and shouted at Datura. Chapter 1484. I called all of you here today because I wanted to gather as a family and also to celebrate your father and master. Come, little Luo, congratulate your father for entering the Heaven Monarch realm. Mandela poured a cup of wine and handed it to her son. Hearing Datura's words, everyone in the tent was pleasantly surprised. They couldn't help but stand up. Everyone, sit down. We're all family. Make yourselves at home. Night Sorrow waved his hand for everyone to sit down. Xiaoluo, congratulations on reaching the Heavenly Monarch realm. Yi Xiaoluo's voice was filled with childishness. All right, you rascal. I was going to teach you a lesson. You're so disobedient. I'll let you off today. Night Sorrow took the wine cup from Yi Xiaoluo's hand and drank it in one gulp. Xiaoluo, be obedient in the future. Yi Xiaoluo nodded. Night Sorrow didn't scold or be fierce. In the eyes of his children, he was the most important person. His words were the rules. The 4 of you have cultivated well. Your foundations are very stable. Remember, good preparation is the way of the king. Night Sorrow looked at Yi Qingyan and the others and said. While they were talking, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong with his main body. Luo, I have something urgent to do. Stay with the children. After speaking, Night Sorrow's clone went to the side to meditate. After his main body appeared, he took the Haotian godly pagoda and left the camp. Qingyan, protect father. If anything happens, call Grand Master or Martial Uncle. At this moment, Datura also realized that something was wrong. Night Sorrow's clone had turned green. She then chased after Night Sorrow's main body and left the camp. When they reached a desolate area, Yishang stopped and turned his head to look at Mandela, who had caught up to him. Protect me. Although there is no lightning tribulation, other tribulations are coming. At this moment, Night Sorrow's body was covered in green. It wanted to suck everything out of Night Sorrow's body. Seeing Night Sorrow meditating, Datura's eyes were filled with worry. She understood what was going on. She had never seen the legendary tribulation of wind and fire, but there were records in the ancient books. What appeared on Night Sorrow's face was the sign of a tribulation of wind. Night Sorrow operated his leakless true body to the extreme, resisting the wind energy that came from outside his body. At this moment, the wind energy that wrapped around him was about to drill into his body and extract the energy and life energy in his body. Datura held her hollowed-out blade and stared at everything, protecting Night Sorrow. As for Night Sorrow's doppelganger, she wasn't worried because it was a subsidiary. Everything was a reflection of the main body. If the main body could withstand it, then the doppelganger would be fine. The pressure was great. Even with his leakless true body, Night Sorrow still felt a lot of pressure. He then released his nihility will to resist the wind will. The perfect will of nothingness burst forth, and with the power of will, the pressure from the wind calamity was cancelled out, which lessened the pressure on Night Sorrow. He could sense that this was an extreme wind. If it drilled into his body, its destructive power would be terrifying. Night Sorrow resisted with all his strength. The wind tribulation's energy revolved around Night Sorrow's body. Datura kept watching. The current situation was very grim. The wind tribulation's power was too great, and she couldn't even get close. Within Night Sorrow's tent, Sandalwood had arrived. She had been invited by Night Sorrow. Shiyu and Shitai had also arrived. They had come to chat with Night Sorrow when they encountered this. Why is the wind tribulation of wind and fire so strong? Shitai was puzzled. You know. Sandalwood looked at the two of them. Yes. When we came out of the ice dragon realm, we experienced wind tribulation and fire tribulation, but they weren't this strong. They weren't even half as strong as this one. If it's this strong, we'll die, said Shiyu. Junior apprentice brother's situation is a bit special. Fortunately, his defenses are stable, said Sandalwood as she looked at Night Sorrow's clone. Night Sorrow was doing his best to resist the wind tribulation's invasion. With the leakless true body protecting him, the nihility will, space-time will, nihility will, nihility will, nihility will, space will, nihility will, time will, and space will to protect him, weakening the wind tribulation's power. At this moment, Qing Emperor and Misty Rain also sensed the disturbance. What's going on? Qing Emperor entered Night Sorrow's tent and looked at Night Sorrow's clone. Auntie called us to celebrate with Father. We had just sat down when something happened to Father. Yi Qingyin's face was filled with anxiety. He's entered the heavenly monarch realm. But even so, he shouldn't have such a tribulation. Legend has it that the wind tribulation and fire tribulation only appears when one reaches the 9th rank, said Misty Rain. That's not important. Guard this place first. Fei Xiu, inform City Lord Tang, Wuling Mountain Master, and the others to prepare for battle, said Qing Emperor to Fei Xiu, who was outside the tent. He was worried that Xia Bing and the others would launch an attack after discovering the situation. However, the main tents of the United Forces camp all had illusory formations. Time passed bit by bit. Night Sorrow's condition was very stable because he could prevent the wind tribulation's energy from entering his body. Seeing that Night Sorrow was stable, Datura also felt at ease. In the past countless years, she had never worried about anyone or been afraid of anything. But now, she was really worried because she cared about Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was her husband and the father of her son. The cyan-like wind energy carried the momentum of heaven and earth and kept sweeping toward Night Sorrow, but it didn't seem to have any effect. Time passed in the confrontation. 1 day, 2 days, and on the morning of the 3rd day, the wind energy dissipated, but the cyan energy was still there. The cyan energy gathered together and turned into a very condensed milky white halo. This halo rushed toward Night Sorrow's head. Night Sorrow used his energy to defend himself, but in fact, it didn't work. This milky white halo directly entered Night Sorrow's spirit sea. Then, it spread out and merged with Night Sorrow's soul power. The Heavenly Way's reward. Night Sorrow understood that this was the Heavenly Way's reward for successfully passing the wind tribulation. The power of the tribulation was strong, but there was always a limit. Night Sorrow could withstand it, but the Heavenly Way's reward was different. It didn't hurt him and was given by the Heavenly Way. He couldn't refuse it. After feeling his body, Night Sorrow stood up. After standing up, Night Sorrow felt awkward for a moment. The robe on his body turned into nothingness. This was caused by the energy impact. Yong Jae Jio I Free 5 Fee read you novel. After taking out a set of clothes and putting it on, Night Sorrow looked at Datura. Okay, the power of this wind tribulation is very strong, but I can still withstand it. It's okay now. Datura looked at Night Sorrow from head to toe. It's okay. I just ruined the celebration banquet you prepared for me. Night Sorrow stepped forward and held Datura's hand. At this time, Night Sorrow's clone also stood up. Master's wife, you are all here. You successfully broke through. Why didn't you tell us and let us celebrate? Qing Emperor looked at Night Sorrow with eyes full of praise. Night Sorrow's achievement made him very happy. The banquet isn't over yet. Let's continue. Junior brother, we must drink well today. Sandalwood said. Of course. Night Sorrow's main body entered the tent and merged with his clone. Chapter 1485. Everyone is here. Night Sorrow's matter has troubled everyone. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at everyone. Then, everyone brought the banquet outside the tent. In addition, Qing Emperor, Tang Jianfeng, and Heaven Lord Shenwu ordered that the Alliance army would celebrate today. Of course, they didn't say the reason because it wasn't necessary. It was enough for the higher-ups to know the reason. Night Sorrow, you used to call me Uncle Tang, but you can't anymore. I toast you with this wine to thank you. Tang Jianfeng stood up and held the wine bowl. Heaven Lord had a high status. Unless it was a very close senior or junior, everyone else was treated as equals. It's not like that. I remember clearly that the first time I came to the Black-Yellow Great World, I wanted to visit Uncle Tang. During this time, we were fighting against the Devil Blood Domain. Before joining the camp, I called you City Lord Tang, Night Sorrow said. That's not important. The most important thing for me now is to feel comfortable. If they don't like it, they can fight again, Heaven Lord Shenhu said with a smile. Everyone was happy, so they drank more wine. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. After taking this step, his ability would be greatly improved and he would be able to solve some problems. After the banquet, Night Sorrow's original body went to the Haotian Godly Pagoda to understand and familiarize himself with the new realm. Since he had a new realm, he had to improve his combat strength. His doppelganger cultivated his combat skills in the illusion formation he had set up. After comprehending his willpower to perfection, Night Sorrow's attack power and unique skill power increased again. The Alliance army calmed down. The higher-ups were confident and their aura was different. Naturally, the soldiers felt the same. After cultivating for half a month, Night Sorrow's doppelganger took the 9 regions origin bead from his original body and told Datura about it. After arriving at the Black-Yellow City, he was teleported to the 9 regions world. At this moment, the 9 regions world had arrived at the predetermined area. Night Sorrow wanted to take a look. The 9 regions origin bead was with Night Sorrow and not in the world. The world origin bead's detection range was limited. After arriving at the 9 domain world, Night Sorrow first accompanied his parents and wife to chat for a while. After his family members went to cultivate, Night Sorrow sailed the boat alone in the large lake. The bright moon hung high in the sky. Night Sorrow could still remember the past. Back then, he had often come here to find the feeling of returning to his original self. Looking at the bright moon in the sky, Night Sorrow knew that it was the Shaoyin astral realm, which was above countless space worlds. The Shaoyin astral realm and the Sun astral realm were the two most special space worlds. They were the extremes of yin and yang. After drinking a jar of wine, Night Sorrow rested on the small boat. Just like a normal person, he lay on the deck chair, covered with a blanket, and enjoyed the night breeze. Wake's initial 4D sank after dawn. Night Sorrow took the teleportation array to 9 Regions City and then went to the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Night Sorrow did not get a title anymore. Back then, he had gotten the title of Endless Saint King. Later, because the 9 Regions world was not a high-level world, he could not continue to get the title of king, so he did not continue to care about it. The 9 Regions origin body seemed to know what Night Sorrow was thinking and gave him an answer. Night Sorrow, I can get the title of Immortal King for you now. However, it is meaningless. You have the potential to become immortal. The fact that you can fight a half-step emperor proves this point. The title of immortal is very domineering. Night Sorrow smiled and entered the heaven-sealing Great Hall. When he reached the top floor, he used his soul power to activate the 9 Regions origin bead. Then let's start investigating. I'll use my soul power to help you, Night Sorrow said. The 9 Regions origin body could investigate the surroundings on its own, but with Night Sorrow's help, the range would be even larger. You and the 9 Regions world complement each other. I can protect your divine sea soul, and you can also give the 9 Regions world stability. Even if your lifespan reaches the end of the Great Calamity, the 9 Regions world can still woo. The 9 Regions origin body floated out of the origin bead. You're not afraid of the Great Calamity? Night Sorrow looked at the 9 Regions origin body with some surprise. Other spatial worlds might be afraid of the Great Calamity, but this body is not, because you are the host, said the 9 Regions origin body. Then can't the other world origins recognize a master and find a host to avoid the Great Calamity? Night Sorrow asked. How could it be that easy? When a world is Great Calamity, the world's origin will violently tremble. Ordinary hosts will be shattered by the chaotic wills and laws. Only one kind of person can resist it. Only cultivators with supreme attributes can restrain and suppress the wills and laws brought about by the Great Calamity. Moreover, they must be a high-level king or above. Only such a will can resist the damage caused by the Great Calamity, said the 9 Regions origin body. So that's how it is. Then I understand. After hearing the 9 Regions origin body's explanation, Night Sorrow understood the principle. If you weren't the realm master of the 9 Regions world, the other world origins would fight to recognize you as their master. You were born in the 9 Regions world. This is a blessing for this body, as well as for the millions of life forms in the 9 Regions world. The 9 Regions world is a newborn world and is far from being destroyed. Of course, when that day comes, we can deal with it. We can transfer life forms to other worlds. After the world is destroyed, this body can create a new spatial world. At that time, we can return and start anew. The 9 Regions origin body explained the future of the 9 Regions world. I understand. Let's start investigating the surrounding situation. After saying that, Night Sorrow's spiritual force erupted and entered the 9 Regions origin bead. At this time, no one could see that outside the 9 Regions world's barrier, light waves of energy were radiating in all directions, radiating into the boundless chaotic space. The origin energy of a high-level world was extremely powerful. Now that Night Sorrow had activated the 9 Regions origin bead and mobilized the entire world's origin energy, its probing power was extremely powerful. In 1 day, 2 days, the world's origin energy spread out without limit. 5 days later, the probing ended. Night Sorrow also drew a spatial world layout diagram. Night Sorrow and the 9 Regions world's origin body looked at the layout diagram together and then circled it. The origin energy of these worlds is very powerful. When our world's origin energy probed over, it was directly repelled and scattered. I feel that the aura is even stronger than that of a great world. The 9 regions world's origin body pointed at the layout diagram and said, "It's not a big problem. This time, we've probed a very large distance. These worlds are relatively far away. They are even in the periphery of the primal chaos realm." Night Sorrow said. This time, he and the 9 regions world's origin body had probed a very large area. Their world's origin energy had even gone beyond the primal chaos realm and probed the 3 great worlds. Because of Night Sorrow's aura, the origin energy of the 3 great worlds did not repel them. There's no problem with our current location. Even if there is a problem, the other 3 great worlds will bear the brunt of it. The 9 regions world's origin body said. Alright. In the future, the 9 regions world will develop at full speed here. Even if there is a tribulation to become a great world, we will be able to resist it. The number of experts in the 9 regions world will also increase. No matter what pressure comes, there won't be a problem. Night Sorrow let out a breath. He was now very confident in facing everything. Chapter 1492. Senior, am I strong enough now? Night Sorrow was pleasantly surprised when he heard what the original body of the Xuanhuan Great World had said. Sage, I'm the Merit Great Sage and a powerful Lord of Heaven with supreme attributes. You should be able to pass it, but you might encounter some trouble. These are all secrets. When an expert appears and has the chance to reach the Emperor realm, the 3 worlds' origins in the chaotic realm will tell them. 2 powerful practitioners appeared in the Shinwu Great World and the Samsara Great World, but they didn't succeed and were forced to retreat. They chose other ways to leave the chaotic realm, but their current situation is unknown. The original body of the Xuanhuan Great World said. Human Sovereign and Blood Saber Sage. Night Sorrow thought of them when he heard the 2 outstanding practitioners mentioned by the original body of the Xuanhuan Great World. It's them. They reached the peak of the Lord of Heaven, but they didn't comprehend the momentum. Although Sage didn't comprehend the momentum, his fighting intent is the prototype of the momentum. In addition, Sage's body is so strong that he can withstand some turbulent astral winds and even the wind and fire tribulations in the passage. The original body of the Xuanhuan Great World said. I heard that there was a practitioner who tried to break through to the 9th stage of the Emperor realm in the chaotic realm, but he died because he couldn't withstand the wind and fire tribulations. It doesn't seem to conform to the rules, Night Sorrow said. I know about it. He was an evil practitioner who mainly cultivated doppelgangers. After his doppelgangers were completed, his original body self-destructed. Then his soul took over an unborn baby's body and continued to cultivate doppelgangers. He planned to merge with his doppelgangers and break through the critical point. It's true that he wanted to prove his Tao by strength, but what he did was not tolerated by the way of heaven, so he was destroyed. The Xuanhuan Great World explained the reason for the previous incident to Night Sorrow. I see. Then I'll ask you a few more questions. What does it mean to prove one's Tao by strength? Night Sorrow noticed the words, prove one's Tao by strength. Sage always grasps the key points. If you want to become an emperor, you must control the general trend of heaven and earth. The general trend of heaven and earth is the control of the Tao. There were generally 2 ways to grasp the Tao. The first way was to go with the flow, which was to slowly understand and control the rules, the will, and the momentum of the world. The other way was to break through with brute force, which was to prove one's Tao with strength. Using strength to prove one's Tao is to break through the rules and break through the critical point. In fact, the sage monarchs have these 2 kinds of potential. There's no need to talk about taking advantage of the situation, as the sage monarchs are walking on this path. When the sage monarchs refine their body, if the energy in their body can break through the rules and break the general trend, then they will reach the Emperor realm. The mysterious yellow origin body patiently explained to Night Sorrow. So that's how it is. Junior will first go and settle the matters of the devil blood domain. When I return, I will slowly discuss the details with Senior. At that time, I hope Senior won't find it troublesome. Night Sorrow stood up and said, "All right, but wait a moment. I have something to give you, Sage. You should know that there is a heavenly law artifact in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion. Every time the Heaven and Earth Pavilion opens, many cultivators come for the heavenly law artifact. There is a heavenly law artifact in the Heaven and Earth Pavilion." The mysterious yellow great world's origin body said. "Didn't you say that as long as you pass through the Heaven and Earth Pavilion, there will always be a suitable heavenly law artifact? Why is there only one?" Night Sorrow asked. "It's like this. The actual body of this heavenly law artifact is an inner armor called the mysterious yellow armor. Before it recognizes an owner, it can take any form. However, the strongest form is the armor. Not only can it protect the upper body, it can also protect the spirit sea. Now, I will give it to the sage monarchs." The mysterious yellow world's origin body took out a silver-white soft armor and placed it on the table in front of it. "Is this appropriate?" Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment. The mysterious yellow armor will belong to the sage monarchs sooner or later. Last time, the sage monarchs did not take it and chose the heavenly law flower. However, the mysterious yellow armor has intersected with the mysterious yellow armor in fate. This time, the sage monarchs fought for the mysterious yellow great world and won the realm war. The mysterious yellow armor is most suitable for the sage monarchs. The mysterious yellow world's origin body pushed the mysterious yellow armor in front of Night Sorrow. "Senior, I still have some questions. What is the difference between a heavenly law artifact and an origin artifact?" Night Sorrow asked. He had always been confused about this question. Then, the mysterious yellow world's origin body explained the difference between a heavenly law artifact and an origin artifact to Night Sorrow. At the beginning of a world, a heavenly law artifact would be born in the most special area, where the will and law were the strongest and the spirit chi was the densest. The heavenly law artifact would be born and grow for a longer period of time. The older the world, the more mature the heavenly law artifact would be, and the more powerful it would be. Among the Chaos Realm, the reincarnation world had existed for the longest time. Therefore, the heavenly law artifact, the Hautian godly pagoda, nurtured by the reincarnation world, was the most powerful. The mysterious yellow armor of the mysterious yellow world was also very mature. Its defensive power was tyrannical. On the other hand, the heavenly law artifact born in the Shinwu Great World was discovered and taken away by Lord of Heaven Shinhu before it had matured. In comparison, it was the worst. The origin artifact was related to the origin of a world. It was the origin artifact that the origin artifact blessed the weapon or armor with the power of the origin. The origin artifact had its limitations. There was a certain difference between it and the heavenly law artifact. Of course, it also depended on which world the heavenly law artifact was born in and whether it was mature. The Hautian godly pagoda was born in the reincarnation world. The reincarnation world involved the ultimate meaning of life and death. It was the reincarnation between life and death. The space-time Tao it displayed was very strong. Therefore, the Hautian godly pagoda was strong in space-time. Cool K read each novels for free forever. Do you understand now? The mysterious yellow world's origin body asked Night Sorrow. Junior understands. Night Sorrow nodded. After listening to the explanation of the mysterious yellow world's origin body, he understood. Then Night Sorrow took the mysterious yellow armor and left mysterious yellow city, returning to the 9 regions world. Night Sorrow first placed the Hautian godly detective's secondary body in the city in the sky and told his parents and wife about it. At the same time, he put away the spatial treasure that could accelerate time by 5 times. Night Sorrow planned to give it to Nu Lin for the soldiers of the Nine Heavens Legion to use. After solving the problem of the Haotian Godly Pagoda's secondary body, Night Sorrow took out the mysterious yellow armor to recognize it as its master. After dripping blood on it and refining it with his soul power, Night Sorrow understood how powerful the mysterious yellow armor was. The mysterious yellow armor was a mature heavenly law artifact in the form of an inner armor. Not only could it protect the internal organs and dantian, but it could also protect the spirit sea and soul. When cultivators above the king realm fought, they would usually attack the spirit sea and dantian if they wanted to injure their opponent. The other parts were useless. So what if you chopped off a leg? The opponent would still fly away. The mysterious yellow armor was an inner armor. It was neither flashy nor flashy, but its defense was very comprehensive. Night Sorrow sensed that the mysterious yellow armor's defense had already surpassed the Haotian Godly Pagodas. It wasn't that the mysterious yellow armor was of a higher level than the Haotian Godly Pagoda. It was just that the two specialized in different areas. The Haotian Godly Pagoda leaned towards supporting cultivation and defense, while the mysterious yellow armor specialized in defense. That was why its defense was extremely tyrannical. Night Sorrow's main body's defense had never been a problem. With the 9 regions origin bead protecting his spirit sea and the Haotian Godly Pagoda protecting his body, the defense was perfect. However, his avatar's defense was a bit lacking. In other words, Night Sorrow only had one set of defensive treasures. Chapter 1496. The leader of the Devil Blood region, the Magic Dragon General, was an evil dragon from a branch of the dragons. He called himself the Magic Dragon. His 2 disciples, Lai Bing and Xia Bing, led the army. He also had a daughter who had awakened her bloodline. She was the princess of the Devil Blood region, Dragon Lady. She knew the dragon language. The Magic Dragon General was a branch of the dragons, but his daughter had awakened a pure dragon bloodline. She had been a lord of heaven for a long time. She had been in seclusion for the past few years. She wanted to be half a step away from becoming an emperor. She was strong in combat, but her realm was not high enough. Tian Lan used to be Dragon Lady's guard. He later joined the army. He felt that if he made a contribution, Dragon Lady might help him when she came out of seclusion and learned about his current situation. Tian Lan, this matter depends on you. We can only solve this problem if the princess shows up, Tian Zhu said. Night Sorrow listened and knew that these blood-armored warriors were transformed by Xia Bing through special means. After Tian Zhu and the other 2 returned to their respective positions to meditate, Night Sorrow moved the Haotian Godly Pagoda slightly and left the area. After reaching the safe area, Night Sorrow flashed out of the Haotian Godly Pagoda. Then, he brought Datura out as well. You heard what they said, right? Their bodies have merged with something special. I can feel that it contains very strong energy. It is very violent. Their body's defense is also very strong. Night Sorrow said. He had asked Little Kong to open up the isolation of the Haotian Godly Pagoda to Datura. Therefore, Datura knew about the conversation and situation of Tian Zhu and the other 2. However, he did not know as clearly as Night Sorrow. They did use some tricks. Datura nodded. The Mad Blood Evil Stone is something they merged with their bodies. I don't know what it is. Also, they mentioned a Dragon Lady Princess. She should be a key figure, Night Sorrow said. That's right. Those 3 heaven monarchs are Xia Bing's subordinates. They are counting on this Dragon Princess to solve their predicament. This means that this Dragon Princess's status is at least equal to Xia Bing and Lai Bing, or even higher. Datura shared his analysis. Night Sorrow nodded. He agreed with Datura's analysis. Let's go to the other cities and investigate the situation. We'll investigate their civilization, strength, and organization structure, Night Sorrow said. Datura smiled. Once we pass through the other party's blockade, we'll just treat it as a vacation. However, it will be difficult to return. It's not difficult at all. The difficulty of our trip here is to enter. If we want to go back, we can just set up a teleportation array, Night Sorrow said with a smile. I forgot about that. I only thought about the wormhole and forgot that you can set up teleportation arrays, Datura said with a chuckle. Chapter D Section Z on iNet. After that, the two of them flew away and left the area. An hour later, the two of them arrived outside a city. After probing, Night Sorrow looked at Datura. We have a different image from them. Therefore, we have to be more restrained. That's not difficult. Datura's body shook and became shorter. The women from the devil blood world were petite while Datura was tall and had fair skin. The difference was huge. She changed her body and then used death energy to change her skin. You. Night Sorrow looked at her and was a little confused. It's for convenience. Once we go back, I'll change back, Datura said. Yishang nodded and made his body stronger as well. Actually, our world's men and women are more harmonious. What is this now? Datura was a little dissatisfied. Night Sorrow pulled Datura into the city and strolled around. After listening to other people's conversations, Night Sorrow realized that the people of the Devil Blood world spoke the same language as the people of the Primal Chaos world. There were no tea houses in the city. However, there were many restaurants. Night Sorrow and Datura entered a restaurant and found a quiet corner. Night Sorrow, they speak the same language as us. Back then, Xia Bing and Lai Bing were shouting in the same language as us, Datura said. In the following month, Night Sorrow and Datura investigated the Devil Blood world. There were 3 worlds in the Devil Blood world. Each world had a different ruler. Xia Bing and Lai Bing were one of them. The other ruler was the Dragon Princess. The leader of the 3 worlds and the 3,000 worlds in the Devil Blood world was the Magic Dragon General. He was an emperor-level cultivator and an evil dragon. When the Qing Emperor was injured by the celestial sex puppet, he was poisoned by the evil dragon's poison centipede. However, it was only a monarch-level evil dragon. The strongest person in the Devil Blood world was naturally the Magic Dragon General. The second strongest person was not the 2 half-step emperor-level cultivators, but the Dragon Princess. Talent. The Dragon Princess was very talented. Because she had awakened her dragon bloodline, which was of a higher level than her father's, the Magic Dragon General's bloodline, she was very powerful. However, she only stayed in the water world, which was the world she ruled. She did not come out. The Magic Dragon General is very cruel. Lai Bing is a cultivator he subdued, and Xia Bing is his disciple. However, the 2 of them do not dare to go against him, Datura said. Of course. He has killed his own disciples before. Therefore, even Xia Bing and Lai Bing, who are half-step emperor-level cultivators, have to obey him, Night Sorrow said. The number of legions is about the same as ours. However, their actual combat power is not as good as ours. Their individual combat power is not bad, but their teamwork is average. The last battle proved this, Datura said. The key is how strong the Dragon Princess and the Magic Dragon General are. If the 2 of them cannot be restrained, then we have no chance of winning, Night Sorrow said. War was not about one person. However, if they could not kill the strongest person of the other side, then it would be a big problem. Everyone in the Chaos world would have to bear the risk of being killed. What you said makes sense. Then let's go to the water world to play, Datura said to Night Sorrow. What do you mean? Night Sorrow did not understand. Lai Bing and Xia Bing know us, but the Dragon Princess does not. Let's go to the water world to check out the situation. Let's get in touch with the dragon princess first. If she does not see through us, then we will mix around and find out the true strength of the magic dragon general from her. If she sees through us, then we will kill her first, Datura said. At this moment, in the water world of the Devil Blood realm, a woman in blue was sitting on a large chair in a luxurious palace. She was listening to the report of her subordinates. The woman's body was straight. Sitting there, she was like a sharp sword with a sharp aura. After listening to the report, the woman opened her closed eyes. 2 rays of light circled in her eyes. You said that Lai Bing's doppelganger was destroyed, and Lai Bing's original body was killed. Yes, princess. This is the case. We have suffered a great defeat in this realm war, the man who reported the news bowed and said. Chapter 1497. And, it's like this. The opponent's strongest expert is a cultivator who is only cultivated for a short period of time. When he killed Lai Bing, he was at the monarch realm. When he killed Xia Bing, he was at the heaven monarch realm. As for the details, this subordinate is not very clear. *T, said the man who bowed to report. He was the city lord of Blackwater City in Blackwater Domain and also the general manager of Blackwater Domain, Hu. Go and call Tian Lan over for your majesty. Isn't he the commander of the Devil Blood Legion? He should be clear about the situation. The lady in the blue dress said. Yes. Hu retreated and went to arrange the orders of the lady in blue. The lady in blue was very famous in the Devil Blood Domain. She was the daughter of the magic dragon general and was at the peak of the heaven monarch realm. In fact, she was the strongest person in the Devil Blood Domain after the magic dragon general. Hu left the Blackwater Domain and took the teleportation array to the Demon Blood world. The Devil Blood Domain had 3 major world groups, the Demon Blood world, the Blackwater world, and the Blood Cloud world. Xia Bing was in charge of the Blood Cloud world group. The Blackwater world group was the Black Dragon Lady's territory, and the Demon Blood world had Lai Bing as the domain lord. The domain lord was just a title and the highest authority of a world. It was different from Night Sorrow, who was the lord of origin. The highest authority of this domain was the Devil Blood General. Hu arrived at the Demon Blood world and teleported to the Demon Sealing City where the Void Passage was located. He then went to the Legion camp where the Void Passage was located. Lai Bing and Xia Bing were recuperating in seclusion. It was the Devil Blood Legion's deputy commander, Shattered Moon, who received Hu. Commander Hu, you are here. Shattered Moon took out a jar of wine and poured a bowl for Hu. The two of them had the same status. Shattered Moon's status in the Blood Cloud world was the same as Hu's in the Blackwater world. It's like this. The princess has come out of seclusion and learned of the defeat of the realm war. She sent me to find General Tian Lan and ask him to report the situation to the princess at the Blackwater Palace. Hu explained the purpose of his visit. Tian Lan still has a mission. If you can't do it, I'll go with your commander Hu to report the situation to the princess, said Broken Moon. Hearing Hu mention Tian Lan, Shattered Moon's face changed. Originally, Tian Lan shouldn't have been involved in refining the berserker. After the heavenly evil weapon made the decision, Tian Lan said a few more words and angered the heavenly evil weapon. Tian Lan was added to the refining of the berserker. If Tian Lan resisted, he would be killed, so he could only accept his fate. However, Evil Soldier regretted it soon after. Tian Lan was from the Blackwater Domain and had been a guard for the Blackwater Domain Lord. Later, he entered the army and was first a monarch in the Heaven Emanations army. Later, Evil Soldier was lacking in manpower. When the army was mobilized, Tian Lan went to the Demon Blood army. After turning Tian Lan into a berserker, Evil Soldier couldn't explain it to the Blackwater Domain Lord, which was the Black Dragon Lady. Evil Soldier planned to go to the Blackwater Domain personally to explain it to the Black Dragon Lady. As Evil Soldier's confidant, Broken Moon knew about this. Therefore, she had to take the blame for Evil Soldier. Mission. Hasn't the realm war already ended? If there's any mission, wait until he reports the situation to the princess. Where is he? Who didn't respond to Shattered Moon's words at all. He must complete the task that the Black Dragon Lady had entrusted to him. Sigh, I'll tell you the truth. You should think about how to deal with it. If it's not handled well, there might be a storm. Broken Moon couldn't hide the truth. Hearing Broken Moon's words, Hu stood up. His face was full of anger. He and Tianlan were friends. After being fused with the Berserker Demon Stone, his body wasn't made of flesh and blood. It was a puppet with intelligence. It was very cruel. You just wait for the princess's anger. In the demon blood world, no one dares to treat the princess's people like this. Bring him here. Hu didn't hold back and roared at Broken Moon. Broken Moon sighed. The situation was already very troublesome. If she stopped Hu now, the Black Dragon Lady might kill her way over when he returned. Tianlan, who was wearing a blood-red armor, saw Hu. His body trembled, but he couldn't make any expression because the muscles on his face were out of control. Hu waved his hand and swept the wine bowl in front of him to one side. Tianlan, the princess wants to see you. Come back with me first. Tianlan looked at Broken Moon. In the absence of Evil Soldier and Lie Soldier, Broken Moon was the person in charge here. Go. The commander was a little impulsive this time, but it was also to stabilize the situation. Explain to the princess. If the princess is really angry, things will be very troublesome, Broken Moon said. Broken Moon said. He could only ask Tianlan to say a few words for Evil Soldier. He couldn't do anything else. Explain. Your blood cloud world is really something. Let's go. Hu took Tianlan and left. Night Sorrow and Datura took the transmission array to Blackwater World. The two people they wanted to investigate were the Magic Dragon General and the Black Dragon Lady. Everything else didn't matter. With the secretive true body, Night Sorrow and Datura's aura wasn't very strong, and they wouldn't be discovered by people with bad intentions. After arriving at Blackwater City, the two found an inn to stay in. Night Sorrow and Datura had already thought about their identity. Their current identity was a secluded cultivator from Blackwater World Group's high-level world, the Heavenly Wind World. Now that they had some achievements in their cultivation, they came out for a walk. This wasn't a random fabrication. Night Sorrow and Datura went to the Heavenly Wind World to make some false appearances. They even prepared a cultivation cave. At present, Night Sorrow had almost collected the map of Devil Blood World. He had the world map of the world in his hands, so there was no problem with the fabricated identity. Devil Blood World's cultivators had a violent character. They didn't drink tea and only drank wine. Night Sorrow and Datura also did as the Romans did and drank tea. Aluo, we are already being watched. Someone will probably find us later. We will follow the agreed plan and say that we are here to seek refuge from the Realm Lord, Night Sorrow said. Okay, don't worry. If we are discovered, we will directly fight with that dragon language and see how strong this demon blood world's #1 Lord of Heaven is. It would be best if we can kill him, Datura said. Yes, and also to see the Black Dragon General. If we can contend against him, we will fight to the death with him. After that, we will sneak attack the fierce soldiers and evil soldiers. Then, we can start an all-out war with the army. Night Sorrow nodded. At this moment, in the Blackwater Palace, a woman was standing in front of the throne and bowing to the Black Dragon Princess, Long Yu, who was meditating with her eyes closed. Princess, our Blackwater city has produced 2 experts. They are both heaven monarchs, which has never appeared before. Two lords of heaven that have never been seen before. Go and make contact with them and see where they are from. Dragon Language, who was dressed in blue, opened his eyes. Yes, this subordinate understands. The woman left. She was Dragon Language's right-hand subordinate and the commander of the Blackwater City's Imperial Guards. At this time, Hoho brought Tianlan into the Blackwater Palace. Only one F is authentic, the other F are pirated copies. Berserker, Tianlan, are you crazy? Dragon Language stood up from his seat. Speak. The second chapter has arrived. Thank you to Little Gao Fu and Boss P for unblocking yesterday's chapter. Also, the last week of the Battle of the Kings is also a crucial time. It will end soon. Shizi asks for help. Thank you. Tomorrow, I will give back to everyone and explode. Chapter 1498. Clang. Tianlan, dressed in blood-red armor, knelt on the ground. Princess, no one would take the initiative to fuse with the blood demon stone. As a heaven monarch, how could Tianlan not know the consequences? Hoho said. Speak. Dragon Language frowned and sat on the chair. Tianlan closed his eyes and smashed the ground. Princess, please save Tianlan. Tell me the situation. What is it? Dragon Language's voice was cold. Tianlan told her the reason why he became a blood demon warrior. Evil soldiers did become a blood demon warrior in order to stabilize the situation, but they should not have touched Dragon Language's people. If they want to resolve the side effects of the blood demon stone, they need the heart-cleansing ice stone. Your Majesty will help you think of a solution. As for the evil soldiers targeting you, they are not giving your Majesty any face. However, the situation is more important now. It is not suitable to reason with them now. Remember this. Dragon Language thought for a while and said. She was not an irrational person. Evil soldiers forcing Tianlan to fuse with the blood demon stone was not giving her face, but it was also for the sake of the overall situation. If she went to find trouble with evil soldiers now, it would not benefit the overall situation. Princess, I don't want you to be unhappy with the commander of the evil soldiers. I just want you to regain your freedom. Tianlan said. Fusing with the blood demon stone could increase one's combat power, but the body was no longer flesh and blood. There was no development to speak of. One could say that one had become a monster that only knew how to fight. Thus, no one was willing to do so. Get up. Tell me the details of this realm war. Dragon Language said. Princess, the enemy's army's ability to work together is very strong. They are slightly stronger than our army. The main reason for their failure is that they have a freak. Combat power cannot be measured by cultivation. When he was a monarch, he killed Commander Lai Bing's clone. Although it was unexpected, it also showed his strength. In addition, he broke through to the Heaven Monarch realm in a short time. When he went to battle again, his combat power changed again. The commander of the evil soldiers was crushed in a head-on battle. Forgive me for being blunt, but if he did not run fast enough, he and his clone would have been killed. Tianlan said. In a head-on battle, he was able to kill Lai Bing's clone as a monarch. Now, he is able to crush evil soldier after becoming a heaven monarch. This means that he is truly powerful. He muttered in Dragon Language. Yes, his attribute is the supreme attribute. Lord Khufu said that this guy is also a merit saint, Tianlan said. Interesting. According to what you said, even your Majesty has a 50-50 chance of winning against him. However, your Majesty has recently gained some insights. Once your Majesty understands it, let's see if he can withstand it. Dragon Language's aura burst forth, and her blue skirt fluttered. Tianlan and Hoho both bowed. They knew that dragon language's strength and prestige were not comparable to fierce soldiers and evil soldiers. Tianlan, we have to look at the big picture. You go back first and do whatever you need to do. Take your Majesty's token. If anyone makes things difficult for you again, you can take it out. The first time your Majesty gave face, the second time your Majesty will not be polite. Dragon language narrowed her eyes and said, I understand. Thank you, Princess. Tianlan knew that his problem was solved. As long as dragon language took care of it, it was only a matter of time before the side effects of the blood demon stone were resolved. In addition, with dragon language's token, even evil soldiers could not make things difficult for him. After Tianlan left, dragon language tapped her fingers on the armrest of the chair and pondered. Dragon language said to Huhu, we just suffered a setback and are not suitable to fight again. We are in a hurry, so we are not in a hurry to fight. Inform the dragon army to prepare for battle. In addition, go and take a look at the 2 heaven monarchs who appeared in Water City today. Investigate and find out where they came from. If there is no problem, bring them to the Water Palace. At this moment, in the Alliance camp outside the void passage of the Demon Blood World, Broken Moon and Evil Soldier reported about Huhu's arrival. This time, I was indeed a little thoughtless. A heaven monarch is nothing, but it is not worth it to have a conflict and estrangement with the Dragon Lady. Evil Soldier's voice was a little low. The death of his original body was a huge blow to him because his future was ruined. A few days ago, Evil Soldier was still very worried and afraid that Night Sorrow would deal with him like Lai Bing. However, it was very quiet now, so he was not so worried. Night Sorrow was busy and did not deal with this matter. It was mainly because Evil Soldier, who was left with only one clone, was not a threat to him. At this moment, Tianlan returned. He originally went to the camp to greet Broken Moon, but he was a little surprised to see Evil Soldier. Greetings, Commander. Tianlan bowed and said, You are back. Have a seat. Evil Soldier waved his hand at Tianlan. Thank you, Commander. Tianlan sat down and said, I was a little thoughtless about what happened a while ago. It was mainly because I was killed and the situation was unstable, so I was a little impatient. After this incident, my achievements will stop here. I will be with you in the next battle. After solving the problem of the war, I will help you think of a way. Evil Soldier said. At this moment, he was a little depressed. Thank you, Commander. Tianlan stood up and nodded. I am not afraid of anyone. It is already like this. Why would I be afraid of anyone? It is just that the war has reached this stage. I am not reconciled, so I don't want to have a conflict with the princess. Evil Soldier finished speaking and left the camp. Tianlan nodded at Broken Moon and returned to the Void Passage, where he, Tianzhu, and Tianjing were guarding. Night Sorrow and Datura stayed in Water City for 2 days. Huhu came to visit them. Because he did not know much about them, Huhu respected Night Sorrow and Datura very much. A heaven monarch must be respected. During the conversation, Huhu indirectly asked about Night Sorrow and Datura's origins. Night Sorrow and Datura were prepared. They directly said that they were from the Heavenly Wind Realm. They had been cultivating in the Heavenly Wind Realm for many years. This time, they had made some achievements and came out to take a look. Very good. The Water Realm is a macro world and the core of this group of worlds. It is better to develop here. There are more opportunities and opportunities. Huhu said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. After talking for a while, Huhu left after agreeing to talk another day. After returning to the Water City Lord residence, Huhu sent people to the Heavenly Wind Realm. He wanted to know if Night Sorrow and Datura's origins were real. Aluo, we made up our origins. If they have a fortune teller, we will be exposed with a divination. Night Sorrow said with a smile. The price of divination is too high. Only untraceable things need to be divined. We told them where we came from. They have places to investigate. When we went to the heavenly wind realm, our preparations were not in vain. Besides, even if they did divination, there would be signs and figures of us in the heavenly wind realm. Datura said. Night Sorrow nodded. If it was the same as what Datura said, then there was no problem. Chapter 1499. Night Sorrow nodded. Ah Luo, let's go out for a walk. Datura looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. If you want to go, I'll accompany you for a walk. In fact, Night Sorrow didn't want to go for a walk. He brought Datura out of the city and flew for hundreds of thousands of miles. He set up a low-level teleportation array in a secret place and then took out 2 teleportation array discs. Then, he gave Mandela a copy of the trap and teleportation array discs. You think too much, Datura said with a smile. It's better to be prepared. It's easy to interfere with a single teleportation array disc. There won't be any drawbacks if you use it with a trap array disc, Night Sorrow said. I understand. I feel safe when I'm with you. You've thought of everything I should and shouldn't think of, Datura said with a smile. We're confident in ourselves, but once we're exposed, we'll be besieged. Night Sorrow said. The truth was just as he said. They were confident, but once they were exposed, the consequences would be severe. There were many heavenly monarchs in the water domain. Night Sorrow didn't want to use this secret method, but in his words, it was better to be prepared. Then, Night Sorrow and Datura returned to the inn. As there were no outsiders, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. Although it's a war, it still feels good to come out with you, Datura said with a smile. QX Section 1 of the new chapter, Be Relax. We're here to look for trouble. There's pressure. They should be the unlucky ones, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. Night Sorrow, let's try to have another child. Datura blushed. Although I know that there is no difference between your true body and your clone, it is better to be safe than sorry. Don't mess around. Night Sorrow said with a smile, although he was touched and had a desire in his heart. No one knows me better than I do. I wouldn't joke about our happiness. However, it's not really possible for a clone to conceive a child. Come here. Datura turned around and sat on the bed. Night Sorrow waved his hand and activated an illusion array. Ah Luo, it's better for you to change back to your original appearance. I haven't seen you for a few days and my mind is filled with your original appearance. Datura nodded. His body trembled and returned to its original state. The two of them had not been together for a long time, so they tossed around to their heart's content. For the next 2 days, Night Sorrow and Datura stayed in the inn. When they had time, they would go out for a walk. Huhu sent people to the heavenly wind domain. When they arrived at the place that Night Sorrow had unintentionally leaked to Huhu, they carefully investigated and then returned to report to Huhu. The situation matched. Huhu reported to Dragon Language. 2 heavenly monarchs. Not bad. If we can keep them in the water domain, it can also increase the strength of the water domain. Bring them to the VIP building. Your Majesty should go and see Lai Bing and Xia Bing. They were in charge of this domain war and suffered heavy injuries. Your Majesty should go and see them. Dragon Language nodded after hearing Huhu's report and then left the water palace. In the inn, Night Sorrow, who was drinking tea and talking with Datura, raised his head and looked into the distance. Then he waved his arm and put away the tea set, replacing it with a wine pot and wine bowl. He noticed that Huhu had come. The people of the devil blood domain did not drink tea. The fact that Night Sorrow and Datura drank tea was a flaw. Huhu came. Night Sorrow invited Huhu to sit down and poured a bowl of wine for Huhu. There were many things to do these 2 days and I neglected the two of you. The princess already knows about your arrival. However, the princess still has some urgent matters to attend to. Now, I will arrange for the two of you to rest in the VIP building. Huhu said very politely. If Night Sorrow and Dragon Language got along well, then they would work together in the future. Therefore, Huhu felt that there was no harm in being friendly. Thank you for the arrangement. Night Sorrow raised his wine bowl to Huhu. Then, under the guidance of Huhu, the three of them went to the most magnificent VIP building in the Water City. After settling down Night Sorrow and Datura and sending people to deliver wine, Huhu left. After leaving the VIP building, Huhu turned around and looked at the VIP building. His eyes were filled with astonishment because he felt the pressure. Huhu was very clear about his cultivation level. He was outstanding even among the heaven monarchs. Otherwise, he would not have become the Water City Lord. His position in the water domain was second only to the Dragon Lady and Dragon Language. Although Night Sorrow and Datura had restrained their auras, some cultivators had strong instincts. Huhu was certain that Night Sorrow and Datura could bring him danger. It seems that they have finished their investigation. The things we arranged worked. They should trust us. Night Sorrow said as he watched Huhu leave. Datura nodded. If the other party did not trust them, they would either attack or expel them. If there was no response for 3 days, it must be an investigation. Now that Huhu had invited them to the VIP building in the Water City, it was obviously a show of goodwill after the investigation. We mainly want to see if we can understand the specific strength of the Magic Dragon General through the Dragon Princess Dragon Language. Once we know, we can start the battle. Datura said. Actually, you don't have to worry. The Magic Dragon General is in the Emperor realm. However, according to the Xianhuang world origin, his aura is not very strong. It is stronger than Lai Bing's. In other words, as long as we are not surrounded, we are not in great danger. We are here to learn more about the other domains. Night Sorrow said. Since you said so, I am more confident. However, it is hard to say what kind of power an Emperor Realm cultivator has. Datura still reminded Night Sorrow, mainly because he was afraid that Night Sorrow would be careless. Normally, it is easy to fight someone of a higher level, but difficult to fight someone of a higher level. Within the same level, the difference is in cultivation and energy. Different ranks are different in realm and quality. Compared to King, and Saint King, what they lack is the comprehension of the will of heaven and earth. King has the power of the will of heaven and earth, but he cannot resist the suppression of the will of heaven and earth. The difference between King, Monarch, Lord of Heaven, and Emperor Realm cultivators is the control of the will of heaven and earth. Night Sorrow explained the difference between the ranks. That's right. If you cannot resist the suppression of the special power of the next rank, you cannot fight. You have the will of battle on your body. Immature will of heaven and earth is useless against you, so you can kill Evil Bing and Lai Bing's doppelganger. Datura said. Aluo, do you know that in our chaos realm, you have the highest potential to become an emperor? Night Sorrow said. My potential to become an emperor is the highest. Datura looked at Night Sorrow with some surprise. Yes, your potential to become an emperor is the highest, but it is not enough. Of course, this is the situation before. Now, the black-yellow great world's origin is saying that it can't see clearly. I think it must be the effect of the mandala lily being killed. This effect should be your capital to reach the emperor's throne. Night Sorrow nodded.